I have. I worked with you once, and I realized it's the easiest money I've ever made in this business.
Uh-oh, is that good?
No, it's a good thing because easy money is good.
Oh, okay.
2016, I think it would have been 2016. Jesus. I filled in for Big Jim Murray on Patriots.com postgame.
Oh, okay.
With you and Paul Perillo, and it was a preseason game. It was the Detroit preseason game. And, I mean, I'm probably like 25. I'm fresh in the business. And the great kingmaker of Boston sports radio, Kevin Collins, calls me and says, hey, can you, fill in, for Big Jim? He can't do this game. I said, oh, my God, yes, of course. With Paul and Andy, oh, my God, I'm so excited. You guys are like these big time, I've watched you, for years, Patriots.com. You're in the Bob's Discount Furniture Studios. I mean, my God, this is the best. So I go into postgame, and you guys are doing, TV at the time. So I don't really see you guys until, after the game's over. First drive of the game, I think it was, Julian Edelman goes down with a knee injury.
Oh.
So automatically a memorable night.
Yeah.
I'm saying, oh, well, now I don't really have to do any prep for this show. I mean, I'm here. I am the baseball guy. I'm going to come in with the two football guys who are going to be breaking down preseason football. And all of a sudden I say, this is easy, man. I don't have to, we've got our story. Julian Edelman goes down. What does this mean for the season? So I just kick back and relax. I'm like, I don't have to do any prep. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. You guys walk in right before the end of the game, and, Mr. Hart, Mr. Perillo, it's so nice to, I knew Paul at the time. Mr. Hart, it's so nice to meet you. I said, well, we know what we're talking about, right? You and Paul look at me and you say, well, why would we talk about that? We don't know if he's actually hurt or not. I'm like, well, guys, he got carted off. And then you and Paul, for the next 2 hours, talked about roster bubble guys as Julian Edelman is sitting there on the sidelines with the torn ACL, and you guys had no interest in talking about it. So, I just sat there and let you guys do your thing. That was the easiest $400 I've ever made in my life. Thank you for that, Paul.
Well, that's
Andy. And Paul.
Well, see, that makes me feel less bad about being disrespectful back to you because
you weren't disrespectful.
I don't remember. I actually was driving in thinking the same thing. Have I worked with Matt before? I know him, been around a long time. You hear him all the time. And I thought the answer was no, so sorry. So maybe it was the Julian Edelman injury. Maybe it's my CTE and I'm an idiot and I don't remember things. I don't know. But that was a good story now that you make me sort of recollect that day. And it does not surprise me that Paul and I just went off on a tangent or whatever, just kind of on our own path. We tend to do that. Ask Hardy from Thursday morning when he just sort of strapped in and was along for the ride with the two of us.
I'll tell you what, some people, there are some people in this business, Andy, who would be very offended by not getting their word in edgewise. In the words of the great Cedric Maxwell, they do not pay me by the word. I am just here. So, if you just want to talk for the next 4 hours, I'm good with that, man. I'm totally fine. Garvin, just make sure the man's mic is on all afternoon long. We'll have a great time.
I have been accused of being able to argue with myself, so there are times when it does feel that way.
What a great skill to have in this business. Argue one side, argue the other side. Trust me, on a solo shift, if I'm grinding out a Sunday afternoon here just by myself, I will absolutely get into arguments with myself.
You need to, and I think that makes us better as sports radio people. If you can see both sides, right? Don't just put on your little blinders and bury your head in the sand.
I'd argue that makes us better human beings, Andy Hart.
Well said, and we need more of that in this world.
I would always say when if we want, an example of great human beings and human interaction, we should always look to sports talk radio and sports talk hosts for that type of thing. We all could learn a lesson from how we interact on these airwaves.
Absolutely. We're making the world a better place one line at a time.
We are never disrespectful to callers. We are never disrespectful to each other. I've never seen people in this business be mean to producers. I've never seen that. Would not happen. Maybe one person here in the history of the station who was not great to producers. I didn't like that. Didn't tolerate that. A lot of people here didn't tolerate that. You've worked with Ryan Garvin a whole bunch before, right?
I have, including last Sunday. Was it last Sunday we were on here? Absolutely. Ryan Garvin's the best. I've seen him get into fights with other talent when I was a fill-in on other stations and all kinds of things. He can hold his own on the air. Is
that true? You have?
Oh, yeah. I've seen some I'm uncomfortable as the fill-in guy, just as the regular host and the producer are screaming at each other.
That actually does check out.
Garvin, he seems like such a nice young man, but he's got a lot of anger inside.
Look, that's on you for misreading the situation. Nice young man.
617-779-0985. What are you hot on today, Andy? I mean, we've got the Red Sox who are they've won 8 in a row. They're the best team in baseball, apparently. We can get into some Patriot stuff a little bit later on. We got World Cup. I'm always happy to talk World Cup. The Jaylen Brown trade. Are you Jaylen Brown out yet at this point?
No. And I saw the latest clip was Jaylen Brown watching. I guess what was he watching? The World Cup he was watching.
Here in Foxborough?
On the bench. No, in Vegas. He's at the Summer League with the Sixers, but he had his phone out and he was celebrating what they, I think, timelined together as a goal in the World Cup action. I got to tell you that I just said it in the headlines. Do I have to? Because the question, sports talk. Do we have to take the Red Sox seriously? Right? Like it's the simple question.
Yeah.
No was the answer. It's still no for me. But it feels like it's getting harder to say no.
Agreed.
They've won, I think it's 16 of 21. So you look at a 20-game sampling. If they had lost 16 of 21, and they may have at some point early in the season, and Craig Breslow goes on across the street and says, well, it's a long season. I would crap all over him. I'd be like, no, that's a big stretch. 20 games is a big stretch. So if I flip that script, and part of me wants to say, I don't know if they can dig out of this hole. This is a good stretch. They're just as due for a lose 6 of 8 on the horizon. But they've won 8 in a row. They've won all at some point, you just say the numbers are the numbers. You're back in the playoff hunt. I saw Fangraphs now projecting them to make the playoffs.
That's right.
So
Show me your math. Show me your work.
Yeah, I totally. Because that feels like the same thing that circa whatever year that was, Mac Jones and the Patriots were like Super Bowl favorites right up until they got absolutely embarrassed by the Buffalo Bills.
Rookie year.
Yeah, 2021. Where all these computers are telling me, no, they're going to be the number 1 seed in this scenario. They're going to be this. They're a legit Super Bowl contender. And I was like, I don't see it, Mr. Computer. And then my eyes were right because they went to Buffalo, and I don't believe Buffalo punted, and the only thing they punted was the Patriots right out of the playoffs. But from a Red Sox perspective, I think the thing that I struggle with is how they're winning in some sense. Like yesterday, Eduardo Rivera, not really familiar, gets his start.
You got to go down to Worcester and watch him.
Okay, great
Beautiful.
take. Polar Park. Love it.
Tremendous.
Love it. So Andrew Monasterio hits a home run, Masataka Yoshida hits a home run, and they win. It's like, does that feel sustainable? Those 3 numbers, if I just give you the stars of the game, if this were hockey and I give you the 3 stars, that's different than they win 8 in a row because Crochet goes 7 scoreless, strikes out 13. Oh, and by the way, Marcelo Meyer hit a 3-run home run. And it just, the sustainability of this feels, if they do this, they should have had Netflix cameras following them this year, right? This was the season to dig the hole they dug to start the year. Can Cora, who I love, and was kind of not rooting for them to turn it around because I didn't want it to look like the right move and all of that.
Oh, so you're compromised too, like every other media member in Boston, because you have conversations with them.
I talk to him every Wednesday for 2 years.
Yeah, right, exactly.
The man has a way, like he looks you in the eye and woos you.
Yep, no, that's Alex Cora. So count Andy
Alex,
Hart.
I know where we're at too.
So we can count Andy Hart among Cora's many, many friends in the media. Definitely not compromised at all.
100% compromised. Can admit it, will admit it, was rooting for the guy. I could acknowledge the issues. The last place finishes, the annual fall apart in August, the annual we can't run, the annual we can't play defense, the things that normally you would put on the manager.
Yeah.
I just chose to try to put them elsewhere.
Did he invite you to the World Cup? I know he was at the World Cup.
No, he didn't. We're not that tight.
And all that.
No, we're not that tight. But yeah, he wooed me. But the job that Tracy has done, I mean, what is he now, like 34 and 31 or whatever? Like a few games over 500.
He's done a good job.
He's done a good job. But again, you're doing it with not the team you built, not the stars you plan to ride, but like this makeshift group of try-hard, plucky little fun baseball team. Doesn't feel sustainable.
Yeah, I tend to agree. However, I will say I'm starting to waver a little bit.
Me too.
Here's the dividing line. They need to come home and do it at home because they've been so bad at home this year. After the All-Star break, they have a 10-game homestand against American League East competition. Now, the American League stinks, but the American League East is still better than the American League Central. Certainly better than teams they've been beating up on here in recent weeks. The Mets stink. The Angels are awful. The White Sox, I know, don't stink, but it's American League Central. There's a difference there. What they need to do is they need to come home and win at home. And they need to do this after the All-Star break, too, because, Andy, the last 3 years, the Red Sox have been the best team in baseball entering the All-Star break. In the weeks leading up to the All-Star break, they've been really good. They did this in 2024. They did this in 2025. They've now done this in 2026. The turnaround is, remarkable, spectacular, whatever you want to call it. I mean, the fact that they are a half game out of a playoff spot at this point is stunning to me, and that is acknowledging that baseball has kind of gimmicked the illusion of contention into the sport for just about anybody, because you'll never be more than 3 or 4 games out of a playoff spot. That's just the way it is. I mean, you have to be truly one of the worst teams in baseball to not be in the hunt, to not be in the graphic that they would put up on TV. Oh, they're only 3.5 games back. Oh, they're only 2.5 games back. Yeah, typically you have about 5 teams in front of you when you're 3.5 games back, but that's now not the case anymore. So I do need to acknowledge that I might be wrong on the Red Sox, but I want to see it after the All-Star break, because in 2024, they came back after the break and they were crap. In 2025, they came back and they were nowhere near as good as they were before entering the break. I do think over the course of a baseball season, teams ebb and flow. There are ups and downs. As you mentioned, the reason they're winning right now is they have a bunch of plucky, try-hard, kind of grinder guys. The Anthony Sieglers of the world who are up from Worcester. They're fighting for their major league lives. They're not going to be fazed by, getting into New York 2 hours before a game because, well, it's big league game number 12 for me this season. I mean, if it were big league game 95 for you this season, that probably affects you a little bit more. But when you have a bunch of guys on the roster who are fighting for something and have something to prove, you can find a way to, put together a stretch of a baseball season over the course of 162 where you play some good baseball. The question is, how sustainable is it? And that's a very fair question that you have. I have the same questions. So let's reevaluate in a week. People keep asking me what you do at the deadline. I've still been on the, the side of sell, sell, sell. That being said, if you are, a half game out of a wild card spot, you kind of can't sell. Thankfully, the trading deadline is a little bit later this year. You have a 10-game homestand coming out of the break to really determine whether or not this is real or this is legitimate. Talk to me a week and a half from now, or I guess 2 weeks from now, based on the fact that we've got the All-Star break coming up that'll take 4 games, 4 days out of the schedule. Talk to me after that homestand.
So just to remind people what you're alluding to, they are 17 and 27 at Fenway Park.
Awful.
So on a 10-game, I'm not a great math guy to equate those things, but if they do that, they're going to go like 3-7 or 4-6.
Yep.
And we won't be talking about buying, and we won't be talking about how well they played heading into. Now, if they do something normal, which most teams are better at home, and they've been historically a good home baseball team, if they do that, that's only going to fuel the fire, and people like us are only going to get weaker. And then the other thing I wanted to point out that you kind of alluded to, there are only 3 teams in the American League that are more than 2.5 games out of the playoffs. Everybody else is within 2.5 games except the A's, who are 5.5. The Royals and the Angels are 9 games out of the wild card. So everybody can we've done this.
Every year we do this.
6 straight years. They made the playoffs once. Every other year they finish in last place, and they were teasing us. But you're right. It works for baseball. It works for talk radio. It works for buy or sell at the trade deadline talk and all that crap. I also I don't forget the trade deadline, because that's a separate beast of what they're going to do. I mean, I think most people with a level head on their shoulders want to trade Chapman, want to trade Gray, whatever. They also don't, am I supposed to be optimistic about Garrett Crochet?
No.
Okay. Am I supposed to be optimistic about Roman Anthony?
No.
Okay, so it's hard for me to sell myself.
Right.
If that were coming and you could kind of talk yourself into, maybe they do add a minor piece, and Anthony's back and he's at the top of the order and he's getting on base at a 450 clip for the final month of the season, and Crochet is back and we got our ace, and you pair him up with Sonny Gray, who's having this remark. I could probably, they used to call me Little Gullible Andy. I feel like I could muster up a little Gullible Andy there and figure, but Roman Anthony is relegated to Fort Myers. Like, they don't even want him around. They don't even want him in the city of Boston.
Not a
having
good sign.
fun. Right.
Not a good sign when you get to sent to Fort Myers in July.
And he and Crochet both kind of have these injuries that were like not a big deal until they were a big deal, until they took a really long time to deal with, to the point where the Anthony one, people are like, I don't even know if that's an injury. What they're telling us doesn't make sense. So, I don't know. Do I want to buy into this is going to be some Morgan magic? Do we
Breslow
have a
magic.
Breslow magic thing? Sure, for entertainment value. Because otherwise, it's just, Patriots training camp starts in 14 days.
A lot of roster bubble guys you can talk about. You and Paul, man, you can grind that out, my man.
Mix in a little baseball optimism. It's not bad for the business and for the entertainment value, but it's hard to do. It's hard to do.
All right, 617-779-0985. You mentioned the guys who aren't here. I think that's almost an even bigger story than the guys who are here. Monasterio, Siegler, Yoshida, homering yesterday, all that. The guys who are not on this roster, I think, are defining this Red Sox experience, and right now, maybe in a good way. We'll get to that as we continue. Andy Hart is here. Matt McCarthy. We're hanging out on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.
Fort Myers. The big three. Essentially, none of those guys are helping this team. Has that actually helped them? I mean, look at their record since Meyer left. How much do you attribute that to the guys who are not here compared to the guys who are here?
That's a tough question, but I do think baseball, daily grind, as you said, you just gave a perfect example. A guy coming for his 12th game is just like, I mean, it kind of sucked that we were on a plane. It kind of sucked that we're late, but I'm not going to let that affect my attitude, my mentality, my energy. Whereas a guy in his 150th, 200th, 1000th, whatever it may be, MLB game is probably more annoyed. I didn't get my usual night's sleep at the Ritz or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's a perfect example of what this baseball team has. I also would say you bring up Marcelo Meyer. Remember in spring training when my guy, Cora, he's got to earn the job. We're not just going to give him anything.
Yep.
There was certainly a concern of entitlement that he was broaching, putting out there publicly, that I think is interesting. I think you can do the same thing with Roman Anthony. I mean, the guy, I would compare Roman Anthony a little to Paul Pierce. Jason Tatum. Kind of bestowed the dude, the guy, the future, the comparisons to like, the numbers in this were Ted Williams like or that. And it's like
Juan Soto. Yeah.
Guy's got 250 at-bats or whatever the hell it was, and you gave him $100 million, and we all did it. We all loved what we saw, but the cart was like flying by the horse, right? Just flying by. And so and I had concerns about Roman Anthony. I took some heat for it. They put out a video in spring training that I thought he looked a little pudgy. There was something bouncing. I thought he had a hoodie on with the pocket bouncing, and I realized there was no pocket. It was no hoodie. I think it was him bouncing. And I didn't know if he hit the banquet circuit last year or, we've seen the videos of the entourage of ladies with him. And I also, some of that's on the team. He's probably doing the natural thing. I'm 21 years old. I got $100 million. I'm the talk of baseball. Aaron Judge loves me at the World Baseball Class. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's normal for him to feel certain things, take advantage of. That's where you need veteran players, veteran coaches, team to kind of rein him in. And there was none of that.
No.
He was the star heading into this season.
And that was not good. And listen, I think Roman Anthony is going to be a star someday. But I don't think they've put enough of a culture around him to get the most out of him. And, you remove Alex Bregman from the situation. Cora is busy, fighting Breslow, your guy, and maybe you can shoot him a text, see how he feels about Craig Breslow. He's busy fighting Breslow. He's busy, getting buddy, doing dinners with media members like you, and then fighting Marcelo Meyer. So he didn't have any time to kind of, dedicate any energy to, Roman Anthony. I do think it was just a set it and forget it with Anthony. He's going to be a star. It'll be fine. And that was too much to ask of him. I think the Red Sox did a disservice to Roman Anthony. But what I think you're seeing now is we go back to the Mike Vrabel press conference, the very famous line, we're going to remove entitlement from the organization.
Yep.
Roman Anthony's been sent to Fort Myers. That is a wake-up call kind of move. That is a punishment kind of move. That is a you are too entitled, we're sending you away. You're going to learn your lesson kind of thing. We hope you learn your lesson. Marcelo Meyer, we all know loves the Seaport just as much as Roman Anthony. I mean, it's those two are peas in a pod, 2 peas in a pod. They are BFFs. I think they have matching bracelets to go with it. Separating those two is probably a very good thing. Very good thing. Brian Bayo in Worcester. You want to talk about entitled? The comments he made after getting his face kicked in every first inning. I'm a starter. Okay, bud, you're a starter in Worcester. You don't belong here. Trevor Story, the day after Cora was fired, was almost as upset as you, Andy. I mean, he was, the comments he made. You want to talk about entitlement for a guy who's hitting 200 and has basically hit 200 since he got here? Well, Cora enabled him. Cora let him get away with that. Trevor Story is not in the picture, too. Those are 4 key guys. Not only guys that you relied on, all of whom massively underperformed. Meyer has never hit. Anthony didn't hit this year. Bayo was a disaster. Trevor Story basically hasn't hit since he's been here, outside of a couple of months last year when Alex Cora was, launching one of his base coach systems there, with all the, sign stealing and you name it. So, I mean, shocker that all of a sudden that gets cracked down on and Trevor Story can't hit again. You remove those 4 guys from the picture, all of a sudden, the team doesn't seem as entitled. The team's playing better baseball. And is that sustainable? I don't think it is, because all 4 of those players have some level of talent, except for Trevor Story, he's washed, but at some point had talent. And they didn't do anything for this team. They are better off without those guys, the majority of those guys.
And I also think, and maybe this would have happened either way, but the role and energy and whatever that Wilson Contreras has brought the team, that probably opened up more room for that. Because you mentioned separate Meyer and Roman Anthony, and immediately the image in my head, do you remember who literally used to separate them often in the dugout last year? Bregman. They would. I feel like Nesson would do that cutaway 3 times a game, where the 3 of them are up on the little pole leaning there, and it's Bregman like talking to those, the old sage, and he hasn't been good.
No, I know.
But the value of whatever that was would have been immense this year. Probably not worth the money that you would have had to pay him to get that value and keep it in the clubhouse. But when you took that away, you didn't have a replacement. And the Unk thing with Trevor Story, they tried to force him, I think, or he maybe even tried to step up. But it's hard to be the guy if you stink. It's right. It's hard to lead when they're like, you kind of stink.
Right. You shouldn't be our starting shortstop.
You can't throw or hit.
Right. We are a worse team with you on the field.
Other than your ability, apparently, maybe to steal some bases, you're almost a zero-tool baseball player.
You can't steal first base, Andy.
Correct. And that was the struggle for him. So, yeah, the air of all, and they changed it on all levels because you throw the manager in. The leadership there changes. But again, at some point, talent and stability wins out over the course of 162, even if you're having a great 20 stretch of games here. So, they're better without them. The proof is in the numbers. You can't argue the numbers, but are they a better, big picture, better team without? No. You need to figure out how to get Roman Anthony as your leadoff batter, and then into a leader role as it evolves, because you have decided he's going to be a tentpole.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I'll give you the name. You let me know whether or not you want that player back this year. Roman Anthony.
No.
No, you don't want Roman Anthony back.
No, I think this is a total learning reset year. Figure it out, and you know how the parents will say, "Why don't you go think about what you've done?"
Yeah.
He might need some time to just think about what matters to you.
It's about 95 degrees and peak humidity today.
They're gonna sweat it out of him.
And some things may need
Good
to be
day
sweated
for some
out.
field drills, I think.
Yeah.
I don't.
If we're talking about ceiling, though, and the sustainability of what they're doing, I don't buy in on this lineup. They need Roman Anthony. He still has the highest potential of any of their hitters.
Sure.
So Anthony is the guy I do want back. Not right in this moment, but a month from now, if they're still playing better baseball, they're going to need Roman Anthony. So I disagree on that one.
Okay.
Marcelo Meyer.
No.
I'm with you on that.
And it's sort of my same argument. The only difference is I have not seen defensively, he's good. I think he is a absolute, any position in the infield, basically, major leaguer.
Very smooth.
Very smooth. What he is at the plate and what he is in terms of the guy that was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick, you steal him at 4, the next swing and whatever.
He's the next Corey Seager. I don't know if you heard.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
No. He very much is not that.
So I don't, the value, I think Beetle, when I was on with him the other day, said he has like no value now. He's like untradeable.
Yeah.
He's no longer a prospect kind of thing. And there's probably some truth to that. He's not even the best shortstop prospect in the Red Sox organization anymore and hasn't been for a period of time here. No. And I don't know how you salvage that. I don't know what there is to salvage there from him moving forward. But no, I don't think he helps this baseball team down the stretch.
Yeah, he's got to go to Worcester. And he's got to figure it out again. That's going to be the wake up call for him. All right,
He doesn't. That was the wake up call for Christian Campbell. Has he woken yet?
Yeah, the problem with Christian Campbell is he stinks, and
Thank
Marcelo Meyer might stink too.
I just want to take. I may not have had a lot of great takes on another job and another time slot over there, but one of my greatest ever was.
We don't keep take batting averages, Andy.
Well, I'm keeping mine because when he was winning Rookie of the Month or whatever, I'd trade his ass. Because I thought the guy stunk from, I never saw it. Like visually, I never saw whatever was supposed to be the next big thing with him. I remember getting, would you trade Cam? Yes.
Yeah.
You don't even tell me who you're getting in return. Trade him. Trade him. It's going to be regrettable. And I don't think it's crazy to say he may never be in Fenway Park again. Unless he's in a seat with us.
I would be surprised.
Right? So
based on what I've seen this year, it's a rough watch. He's lost at the plate. Can't hit a breaking ball, still does not have a position. The outfield experience this year is it's a tough watch, and yeah, it's not great.
So it's
not great.
And I know Marcelo Meyer has more talent, 100%. I've seen the talent, especially defensively. But this idea, like just go to Worcester and figure it out, it sounds great on paper. Does he figure it out? Or
I'm
does
not
he
convinced
just
he does.
Kind of wallow away and disappear in some random trade later on.
He can't hit lefties and can't hit breaking balls. So that's
how did they get it that wrong?
Hey, listen, man. I was pounding the table 2 years ago on the. If we're doing, I was right 2 years ago.
What do you got? What do you got?
Marcelo Meyer. The second he got to Double-A and he struggled against lefties and breaking balls, I said, trade him now. Dave Dombrowski would trade him now. Bloom and Breslow didn't want to do it because, again, he was so highly touted. He was so hyped. And you look at him. I mean, he has a beautiful swing. It's beautiful in the field. He's a beautiful looking man. And nobody has taken advantage of that more than Marcelo Meyer. It does not translate on the field. I've said this, Andy. 200 at Fenway Park, 400 in the Seaport. He's Teddy Ballgame in the Seaport. Nobody has taken advantage of the look more than Marcelo Meyer. And I think a lot of baseball people got fooled by the look because how couldn't you? I mean, my God, the swing is gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. And he's so smooth in the field. And you say, this guy's going to be a star. And then you look at the baseball card and you say, wait a minute. Where were the stats? Where's the output? Where's the production? Because above single A, he was good in single A. In Double-A and Triple-A, which is real baseball, single A, you're playing against 17-year-old kids and, in the words of Mike Felger, Czechoslovakian goat farmers. I mean, you're not playing real baseball players at single A. Once he got to Double-A, it's like, it's a concern here. So I don't know if Meyer will ever be that ever again. The difference in why I would take Anthony back on this team compared to Meyer is I've seen it before with Anthony, and I still believe in him as a baseball player. I don't know if I believe in Marcelo Meyer as a baseball player. So I'm not introducing that element back into this team. When I've got Isaiah Kiner-Falefa coming out saying, essentially calling out the distractions at home, that to me was a direct shot at the likes of Meyer and Anthony, right, who are, busy in the doing circuit.
So when you bring Anthony back, it's with an eye on helping the 2026 Boston Red Sox?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think there would also be an argument for me made, in football, they'll say like the last 2 or 3 games, you're just putting it on tape for next year, kind of thing. And maybe there's value in that, getting his feet, quote unquote, wet in the big leagues again to prep for spring training in 2027.
Yeah, that's what bad teams do.
Well, yeah. And
when you're 4-13, you are making tape for next season.
Correct. And the Red Sox, for much of this season, were a bad baseball team.
They're 4-13.
Now, all of a sudden, they're a freaking good baseball team, and we're here to try to explain it.
And you don't want Anthony back as part of that. And I understand that. I think that's defensible. I just think there still is a ceiling with Anthony, and the Red Sox will not reach their ceiling as a baseball team without Roman Anthony this year.
Fair.
I do not feel the same way about Marcelo Meyer. They have better options in the organization right now than Marcelo Meyer. Nick Sogard's a better option than Marcelo Meyer at this point. Anthony Siegler is a better option than Marcelo Meyer at this point.
So let me ask you a question. You use separate them, put some separate between.
Yep. Break them up like middle school students. You have to, put one on one side of the classroom, one on the other.
Do they need to do? Will that benefit? So Roman Anthony's the better player.
Yes.
Roman Anthony has the contract. Roman Anthony has the future. Mm-hmm. Do you believe there would be value in shipping Marcelo Meyer out of town just for the development, maturity, whatever of Roman Anthony?
1,000%. Okay. You have to get Meyer away from Anthony. If you want to get the most out of Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer is going to get in the way of that. I mean, those two, oh boy. I mean, go on social media. You'll find those two out all the time. You just see them. I mean, they're the first to talk about how close they are. And I mean, they're, BFFs. It's just, I don't think that's because there was never this kind of buzz about Roman Anthony coming up through the minors. Like, oh, he doesn't play through injuries. There was never that kind of buzz. Maybe there are things he's more distracted by. There was never that. There was never that about him.
No, it was the opposite.
There always was that about Meyer. If you listened to it, if you paid attention to it, there was always, I wish he'd played through injuries a little bit, or hey, he's a good-looking guy kind of thing. Like, you would always get those little comments about him. Now we're saying the same thing about Anthony, and we know how close those two are. You got to break them up. Yeah, I mean, again, the elementary school students that you have to put on the other side of the classroom, that's who those two are, which, by the way, I do put on Roman Anthony. It's like, you're going to let this guy, this clown Meyer, affect you and affect your professionalism. And
that
now,
Meyer boy is a bad influence. I don't want you playing with them no more.
Can you imagine? I mean, it sounds crazy. Like, it's almost a crazy discussion to have about professional athletes. I think that very much is happening, and I'm convinced it's one of the reasons they sent Anthony to Fort Myers. They send him to Fort Myers very shortly after Meyer goes on the injured list too. So those two guys have a whole bunch of time on their hands. Separate them. Get them away. You have to get Meyer out of the organization. That's the next step.
I'm going to get ahead of the callers, the emails, the tweets, and this just proves that we're never happy as media, because we've bitched for 10 years that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum don't hang out off the court and they'll never win anything because of it. Yep. Now, the next generation of Boston Red Sox superstars, we bitch that they hang out too much off the baseball field. They're too much partying and drinking and having fun. We're never happy.
No, we never are. 617-779-0985. Nick and Walpole. Hey, Nick.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. Good show.
Thanks.
Yeah, I completely agree with you about the young guys. Marcelo Meyer in particular, he's just not ready to be at the big league level. I'm not sure he ever will be. Roman Anthony, like you said, maybe has some more potential. He showed it last year, but he's also shown us that he can't stay healthy. He can't stay on the field. I forget what month he got called up last year, but it definitely wasn't the whole season, and he couldn't finish. And he's been out for more than half of this year so far. So I'm very concerned about Roman Anthony. I'd just shut him down for the rest of the year. I don't think you need him. So that's my thoughts, guys.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
It's a good call, Nick.
He's on board.
I'm with you.
Hart.
Shut him down.
All right, we need to get some Andy Hart opposition. I don't like that we started making Andy very comfortable. He's brand new here. I don't like that. We can't have that.
It's a great place.
It is a good place.
It is nice over here, isn't it?
It is. I'm enjoying it.
Happy to have you, Andy. We'll continue. Andy Hart's here. Matt McCarthy hanging out on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.
The Red Sox do go the route of selling. At the deadline, they got quite a few guys that would obviously fit the bill. What kind of return do you think we could expect from like a Gray or a Chapman or whoever else? Just some lottery ticket minor leaguers, or do you think any of these guys warrant a good return? And also, real quick, McCarthy, I don't know if you saw on Instagram, Mike the Situation posted a family picture of him and his family in Ithaca College T-shirts. I know you just mentioned your college radio station there. So thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, TJ. I did not see that. I did not see the Situation has any connection with Ithaca College, but we welcome any and all, including the Situation and his family. Are those Jersey Shore people still a thing?
Apparently in some circles. Some
guess
algorithms of social media, not mine. But
believe it or not, you want to talk about my $50,000 a year television radio degree, one of my classes, television aesthetics and analysis. We watched Jersey Shore.
Really?
Yep. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for paying for that class.
Was it aesthetically pleasing when you analyzed it?
Shockingly so.
They knew what they were doing, huh?
No, I mean, the professor's like, we're going to watch Jersey Shore. I mean, we're watching all these, and I think it was media aesthetics and analysis. So we're watching The Godfather and Goodfellas. And he's like, today I'm going to show you Jersey Shore. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. Tremendous. What storytelling. That's an editing masterclass.
Well, I am always documentaries or reality TV, what they can do. I think that's really cool. That is an absolute talent. The thing I feel like you could ask a guy all the same information to edit it for a documentary to prove one side, and then the next day be like, you know what?
So true.
Do the opposite. And I think they would both, if you watched land. They would succeed. The true artists of that medium.
The editing, when it comes to video storytelling, top notch.
Yeah.
So you can create. Take a look at Love Island, Andy. I don't know if you watch Love Island. I don't know if that's been on the.
It's on in my house.
It's on in your house.
I don't watch it, but it's on in my house.
No, you're watching it. Even if
there's
you're
certain things that catch my attention.
Even if you're not watching it, you're watching.
Yes, yeah, a little bit,
Yeah.
But yes, that is on often in my house, unfortunately.
Should the Red Sox get prospects or established major leaguers? I've heard this reported and bandied about that maybe if they do end up trading Sonny Gray and Aroldis Chapman, that they would target more of the Alan Craig, Joe Kelly return, the Yoenis Cespedes return for those guys instead of prospects. How do you feel about all that?
That's not what I would do.
You want prospects?
Yeah, I want prospects, not low-level scratch tickets or lottery tickets, like you said. And I know probably not going to get real elite level, somewhere in that in-between. Guys that I think can be part of my future, can be complementary players to Roman Anthony.
I mean, for Chapman and Gray, you should get a lot. Those
Absolutely.
guys are, I mean, Gray's been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. Chapman, I mean, relievers always get you massive returns.
Hopefully they're not
balls.
watching too closely, because I feel like if you really have watched him this year, he hasn't been great.
I agree.
And I know there's excuses about usage at times and different
injury,
things,
yep.
but it just feels like we're getting more the Chapman we expected when they signed him than the guy that was ridiculous a year ago.
Time to cash in.
It's like a Rafaela diving catch with men on base, and you're like, woo, that was an easy save. And you're like, no, I watched it. It wasn't that easy as the score sheet might tell you. But, I want players with upside potential that are young that could be part of the core future.
I think I understand, though, when Red Sox fans say, I'm done with prospects. I don't want to hear about prospects. Don't get prospects. Hey, man, that is sports PTSD. You were promised the world with Meyer and Campbell and Anthony, the big three. I still believe in Roman Anthony, but I think you may have hit on one of those three, and I think the other two may be massive, massive busts. And it was just wait until 2026. Everything will be great. Well, it's 2026. Everything is not great, even though they're playing way better baseball. But they're doing that with, as we've talked about, 4A guys, scrappy players, guys who are not a big part of your future. You're not, going on this run because Roman Anthony got hot and Marcelo Meyer's starting to hit. And, Christian Campbell has come up and, looks like an impact major leaguer. That's not the way you're winning. So I understand when Red Sox fans say, I don't want to go down that route. Get established big leaguers. If you're trading Chapman, you're trading Gray, get guys in return. I'm sure we're going to hear the argument in coming weeks, Andy, that they should kind of both buy and sell because they're still in it.
Oh, that always goes so well.
It never goes well.
Oh, that's right.
And you know what? The Alan Craig, Joe Kelly trade, I know Joe Kelly figured it out late in 2018. That was 4 years after that trade was made. That was not a good trade. If you are trading for established major leaguers, if you're shipping Gray and Contreras and Chapman out of town, probably not trading Contreras, but work with me on that. You're getting another team's problem. You know who you're getting? You're getting Dustin May from last year. What contending team is trading for Aroldis Chapman but saying, oh yeah, you can take a guy off of our big league roster? What contending team is doing that? Nobody out there is doing that. So what I'm doing, Andy, is I'm trading for prospects and I'm flipping them this offseason. I'm accumulating assets, and then I'm making trades this offseason when everybody's open for business. Teams are willing to trade big leaguers. I need to have as many assets to cash in this offseason. I'm not trying to cash in right now. That would be a fool's errand. They should not do that.
So I want to make sure I remember this right. The Vasquez trade brought you Willie Abreu, right?
Yep.
That's what I want. Mm-hmm. Willie Abreu. And I'm not saying he has to be, a multi-time gold. I'm saying that kind of player that none of us really were all excited about when that trade happened, right? but that's a piece that has become a core part of your team. If you can get in a Sonny Gray trade one guy like that, and in a Chapman Gray trade one guy like that, that just increases your organizational depth and opportunities.
I think we'd all take Willie Abreu. How long are you willing to wait for it, though? Because remember, that Vasquez trade happened in 2022.
Yeah.
It's 2026, and for the first time, Willie Abreu plays every day. He's having a good season.
They just started letting him hit against lefties this year.
Because, and I think, this was ignored, by Bloom and Breslow, and it's like, hey, we're going to go out and we're going to get prospects. And this is more the Bloom era, than anything. And this is our 5-year plan. And by the time 2025 and 2026 roll around, all these guys will be at the big league level and we're off and running. Well, the answer is all those guys are at the big league level, and none of them are actually performing at the big league level yet, because it takes 3 years, like Willie Abreu, who came up in 2023. There's stuff to like there with the player, but for the first time ever, you can say he's a true everyday impact player. He's still not a superstar. I think Jared Carrabis has called him Venezuelan Trot Nixon. So that's a nice player, and he's a slightly better defender than Trot. But yeah, it's how long do you want to wait for that?
I'm fine waiting for the next Willie Abreu if it comes from one of these trades, because I think the major leaguers, you need to change the way you did business. You need to be more aggressive in free agency. You need to be more aggressive in the offseason. Maybe when a team is interested in Jarren Duran and you want to move on from him, you actually pull the trigger before he hits a $190 or whatever the hell he's hitting and the value goes through the floor. I just don't think anything they do at this trade deadline is going to excite me. Like, what are the Fernando Tatis? I had a former coworker that would love to see Fernando Tatis in a Boston Red Sox. I don't think that's coming in some Chapman trade. You know what I mean? Like that. Nothing that excites me. That's more of an off-season organizational approach. So just get me some. Just don't do what it feels like you've done, and get pieces that never do anything. That either aren't good or end up getting swapped back out, and you're like, wait, we traded Mookie Betts for what? We traded Rafi Devers for what? Like, get something that at some point I can at least tie to the trade.
I do want to jump Harry in the car because he has important context to add to this conversation. Harry?
Hey, how are you?
What's up?
You get me sick. I love listening to you. But, man, you are so out of touch. No, we're keeping this team, going to take a run at it, hopefully with 2 games out at the All-Star break. I never thought that, but the owners have been terrible since 65, since before that, all terrible.
Tom Yaki stunk, according to Harry. He is right. Right now, they're not selling. We can have this conversation, and we should have this conversation, because I still think there are people in that building who want to sell. When Sam Kennedy, came out and was as aggressive as he was in talking about the failures of this team, and there's been reporting really up until about the last week or so that Sean McAdam reported that I believe it was McAdam, and if I'm wrong, sorry about this, Sean, but there was reporting that said that major league executives have not heard about the Red Sox buying; they're only hearing about them selling. They are a half game out at this point. That conversation is probably changing. The trading deadline isn't until August 3rd. It's July 12th. There's a lot that's going to happen between now and then. We still don't know if they're going to buy or sell. They come back out of the break and do what they've done in recent years, which is play terrible baseball out of the All-Star break. They'll end up right back in sell territory. They keep this up, they'll end up in buy territory. We are very much in that. So we should talk about them in the context of they might buy, and we should talk about them in the context of they might sell.
Yeah, I do think the late trade deadline, as I said, there could be a lose 6 of 7 right on the horizon, and all of this goodwill and all the statistical positive analysis falls apart. The other thing that McAdam reported, I believe, and he's sticking by, is that it's still hard for Breslow to keep his job.
So that's a factor too. Breslow, is he going to try to save his job at the deadline? Is he empowered to save his job at the deadline, or has ownership already decided that we're not going to let you buy? There are so many factors that go into whether or not they're going to buy or sell, and you know what probably is going to end up happening? They're probably going to do nothing, because I think there are too many. No, seriously, Garvin, I see. They're probably going to do nothing because Breslow's going to want to buy, but he probably wants to buy to save his job. Kennedy probably wants to sell because he made those comments a few weeks ago. Like, in the end, there's going to be a lot of friction and infighting because it's the Boston Red Sox. And then what's going to happen? Absolutely nothing.
This is, I think, the worst case scenario for the Red Sox right now, because I think that the more variables that get worked into the equation, the more complicated this gets. And this organization has proven they've done master classes on being able to fumble the ball at the 1 yard line. And I think if they're looking at it right now with more variance thrown into what they are going to be doing in about a month to figure it out, they have not shown that they can handle these situations right, that they're going to do the right thing. Because ultimately, and this is what I think about, as we spent the beginning of the show talking about, like, where's Roman Anthony? Where's Marcelo Meyer? You might have a good player. You might have a good player in Roman Anthony. How do you fill out the rest of your team? I mean, so we're just going to, okay, fine. I'll give you Wilyer Abreu. Is Anthony Sigler part of the future right now? Masataka Yoshida's hitting now. Or is he going to say, there's still so much work on this roster? Like, fine, leave it how it is right now. We'll do what Harry wants. You'll get smashed in the wild card by the top team in the American League. As it stands right now, the fact that they have played themselves into this situation where they could buy, I think it's the worst possible thing that could happen to this team, because I think it's just going to get too complicated.
A dangerous winning streak, according to Ryan Garvin. Dangerous.
I think so.
Feels it.
A slippery slope, maybe. There's an argument that I'm seeing from people out there that something happened last night in the World Cup that is a slippery slope, that replay has gone too far. No, my friends. I saw maybe my favorite use of replay in the history of sports last night. I want to get into this on the other side. Andy Hart's here. I see you on the phone lines. We'll take care of you. 617-779-0985. We roll on a Sunday morning on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5.
In a game?
I did not. But I am glad at what I just heard, because I saw the original that they alluded to in the U.S. game. Mm-hmm. And this, you're right. This, we all bitch about where replay review goes and what it's doing and slowing. This might be one of the great advancements in that area.
Yeah, replay has its problems in sports. I firmly believe that. If we are using replay to shame floppers and shame divers and kick them out of the game, I am all for it. Hallelujah. The war on flopping and the war on diving. How is it that soccer is is ahead of the NBA and the NHL on this? Not that it's a massive problem in the NHL. It only happens in Montreal. But in the NBA, how are we not shaming athletes for when they dive and flop? And obviously soccer has it worse than just about any sport. But this is now the second time in this World Cup where you've seen a player dive. They give a yellow card to a defender. They go back and look on replay. You find out that the referee was fooled by what he saw on the field, got it wrong, gave the yellow card to the wrong person. They take away the yellow card from the defender, and they give it to the attacking player who dove.
That is a clear simulation.
It was a clear simulation. This one, if you haven't seen it, watch the video. This Swiss a-hole jumps 4 feet in the air, rolls around 4 times on the ground, literally rolls into the bench. He's screaming, writhing in pain on the ground. He was never touched by the Argentine defender. He was already on a yellow card. So they go back on replay. They take the yellow card away from the Argentine defender. They give it to the Swiss defender. You can hear the entire Swiss team loses their mind.
Oh, wow.
No! Yes. Oh, God. It was so good. And then he looked like he was going to kill the ref. He had to be restrained from the ref, and then he starts bawling. This little B starts bawling and crying. He basically collapses on the field. They have to, carry him off the field because he just let his country down. They were down to 10 men, and they go on to lose the game to Argentina in extra time, in big part because they were down to 10 men. It was the greatest use of replay I've ever seen. He has been shamed forevermore. The name Embolo will be referenced in the soccer world forever. A man who was sent off in a World Cup quarterfinal because he just couldn't help himself from diving and rolling around on the ground and pretending like he got shot. And finally, the sport has said, enough of this. We have replay. Let's use it. Let's shame him forever. Let's kick him out of the game. Oh, it was so beautiful. Oh, and the reaction of the Swiss players, too, was just tremendous. Like, here's the problem. They have accepted this as part of their culture. It's like, okay, it's okay. We can do this. I mean, the reaction. Guys, did you watch the replay? Nobody wants this in the sport. The fans don't want this in the sport. American fans don't want this in the sport. I've seen on Twitter in the last 12 hours people being very upset, like we shouldn't be using replay for this, all this stuff. No, this is exactly what replay should be used for. We need to get this out of the game, litigate it out of the game. The players are not going to stop it. And the only way we are going to stop them is good old-fashioned shame. Shame. Shame on you. Shame. Mbolo. Shame. I've never heard of you before. Shame. Shame. Get the bell out. Make him do the walk as he walks off the pitch knowing he just let his entire country down and his entire life will be defined by that one moment. Nobody has deserved that one moment more than that guy. Oh, I loved it, Andy. Have you seen the video?
I have not seen the video.
Watch the video. I will find the video.
I love your passion. And I agree with you on this like 95%. Like 95%. Because I told you, I saw the original against the U.S., and it made me watch more of this tournament.
Watch this guy right here. Look at that. Not touched. Never touched. Kick him out of the game. Watch
It's
him.
like he stepped on a landmine.
It is. Or he got shot. A sniper took him out.
Flying across the pitch.
A clear simulation. Look at him. If you were shot, your body wouldn't contort into that position.
Right. Now, I will say, watching it, what you're showing me, I don't know how they called the yellow card on the defender of the first. Like, that's a terrible official. There is, like, air and distance, like, no matter what angle I look from, it's like watching, you watch Rocky and all the punches, and then you watch the making of Rocky, and you're like, holy crap, he was like 2 feet from his chin when he threw that punch. That's what this is.
The scene in The Godfather where James Caan, Sonny is beating Carlo. Like that scene, you go back and watch you're like,
right.
Yeah.
Or like when
wasn't
you
even close.
Realize wrestling isn't real, and you're like, wait, I bought into this as a little kid? That wasn't even
Do
close.
not say that on these airwaves. There are a lot of people at the station who will take great offense to that.
Okay, well,
I'm just going to help you out as the new guy here, Andy.
The one thing I will say, the 5% of me that's not quite as passionate as you about this is how they play. Mm-hmm. You know the old Bill Belichick, do business as business is being done. What's his name? Embolo? You want out?
Embolo.
Embolo. Embolo's gotten away with this. All his friends have gotten away with this. They've been doing this for years, whether it's in World Cup action or Premier League or whatever league they play in. And now he was made an example of. It's kind of like you got a speeding ticket doing 80, right? And you're in a line of traffic. There's 25 cars. Why did that statey pull me out and give me a ticket? Everyone, I was going with the speed of traffic there. I'm speeding. 100% I'm speeding. But I was going with the speed of traffic, right? Everybody else, why'd you pick me? They're kind of making an example of this guy circumstantially through the replay and all that. End game, I agree with you. But the poor guy got porked by the situation.
No. Watch this video again.
If you stay on your feet.
No, watch this. Watch this,
There's
Andy.
nothing to call.
Look, 1 roll, 2 rolls, 3 rolls. He's rolled into the Argentine bench.
But that's what they teach him. I removed my son from soccer when he was a kid. They started teaching little kids how to flop. It's part of the game.
We're going to get it out of the game.
And I hope you do. Because the sneaky part of this tournament that I've enjoyed, super physical. They actually don't call a lot of things where I see a shove and I'm like, I'm new to this whole soccer thing. Is that allowed? Can you just push off a guy like that?
It's like
and
90s hand checking him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and the final score, Knicks 67, Pistons 65. Exactly. So, and I've loved that. The physicality and the skill of this sport is far beyond what I thought it was.
Oh, yeah. No
and then if they can get this out, because they've still had it. I joked every game I've seen.
Problem.
Let me guess, another guy died on the pitch today. Yeah. We got 45 deaths so far in this tournament of guys like that.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my God, roll. And then you're like, wait, the guy stayed in? The guy's still running around?
His leg's not broken?
2 seconds ago.
He didn't McGregor himself? What's the deal here?
And the freaking trainers, they're like WWE trainers. They come out and play along, right? They got a bag and they'll take something out and maybe spray something, rub something, and Miyagi it, and he's back to action. So I agree it's all terrible, but they were going to lose anyway, right?
Probably.
Okay.
However, Argentina really has not been, I think, that great. And you want to talk about rigged outcomes. I think FIFA may slightly be on the side of Argentina. So
Argentina is what I hear them called.
Oh, yeah. They once again benefited from VAR last night, which is just one incredible excuse for FIFA. Just another tool in the toolkit for them to rig these games, because it is the most blatantly corrupt sport on planet Earth. That being said, this is exactly how replay should be used. And I want more of this in the sport, because it is the biggest problem with the game.
Yes.
As to your point, Andy, like, you do watch some of the action on the field and you're like, this is a more physical game than we ever give it credit for. Like corners, like guys slamming heads into one another. I mean, you see some of the falls these guys take going up for a ball. Like that's no joke. So they have to get this acting out of the sport, and it's going to take a long time for them to do it, and they still need. But the fact that you can do this now is so good. Garvin?
Do you think that the players and the coaches will be receptive to it? And
No.
I ask because, like, in basketball, I don't know if everybody was so keen on the idea that we can review everything, and now every single player that gets tripped, they're twirling their fingers. In baseball, I don't know how many people like the idea of a pitch clock, but I think it's helped, and I think more players would say it's good for the game than bad for the game. And I ask that question because I am reading the post-game transcript from the Swiss head coach, Murat Yakin. Quote, "We were punished because of a rule that, in my opinion, is completely unacceptable. It's very painful that we were eliminated that way. I don't think we deserve that today. And in my opinion..." My boys are the real heroes. They put all their heart and their passion into their performance. I am very proud, end quote. So I agree, and I think, I don't know if for FIFA or any of these other big soccer clubs, if they care about growing the game in the United States. I think they should. But I think a real criticism that American fans have watching the game is the histrionics that go into... Like, if you want to roll around and sell contact, fine. The faces are absurd. Just don't make the faces, and I think you'll win a lot of people over. However, I don't know... And you kind of just answered it quickly, Matt, that the players and the coaches in these clubs do not want this stuff to be... I think they want less replay. I think they want the opportunity to try and fool officiating and not get penalized for something that I think you should hold these players accountable for when it comes to the embellishment or the simulation.
Have you ever heard... So Ian Dark was on the call last night. He has the term the dark arts. He calls this stuff the dark arts of the game. But it's such an accepted part of the sport. And I think, Garvin, you get to a really important point here. Sometimes the players are going to be they're going to be opposed to the making progress for the sport, the way that baseball players were with the pitch clock. You get the pitch clock into the game and it's saved the sport and it's made it so much better. But if you're counting on the players to be on board with some of this stuff, sometimes they're never going to be on board with positive changes that would actually help the sport. There are going to be a lot of people in the soccer world who had a real problem with the way that went down last night. But I think the average fan looks at this and says, yeah, that guy should get a yellow card. He faked getting tackled. He faked an injury. He faked all of this. Get that out of the game. I will say that the difference between basketball and soccer is the punishments in soccer are so much more severe. I mean, this guy gets kicked out of the game because he was already on a yellow card. They're down to 10, and they lose the game because of it. They lost the game in big part because their player flopped and rolled around on the ground like a child. Oh, it's so amazing. The punishments are so severe and the stakes are so high. Imagine being sent off in a World Cup quarterfinal because you faked an injury. Oh, it's the greatest punishment I've ever seen in sports. It's tremendous. It will define that man's entire life, and he deserves it.
You got to wonder if the rest of these coaches look at that. But again, I don't think that they do. I mean, Andy, you said like they're teaching kids like, hey, if your cleat gets clipped, roll around on the ground and do bad acting. You would like to think that the rest of these head coaches would like bring the team in and go, listen, they're looking for this stuff, you guys. This is not the stage where we can F around and try and get calls that we're not really supposed to be getting. I don't know that any of these remaining is the French head coach going to grab it? Hey, Mbappe, don't, if the breeze hits your back, don't fall over and think that you just got hit. I don't know that they're going to do that, though.
I think it's generational. Like with all these things, it's like the guys that came up through the minor leagues with a pitch clock get to the major leagues, and they're like, why are you bitching about it? I've been playing with this for 5. You know what I mean? It's generational, and so you need to probably age out some of the guys. I also think what you brought up, Matt, the extreme penalties. This isn't an unfair or, offensive foul that's his second in the second quarter.
The other team gets the ball.
Right. Like, no, these are big deals.
The closest thing we have, I think, is in hockey is a game misconduct, or like a major penalty where you 5-on-4, you can score as many times on a power play. Nothing comes close to the severity of a red card.
So I think this will work. I really do. It may take a little bit, and I only watch every 4 years, so for me it doesn't matter. I'll see you again in 4 years. I think this will work. The severe penalties and maybe the young guys and maybe the growth of the game and the appreciation of the physicality, not the flopping. Let's focus on physical. Like, we're big, strong, athletic men who we don't wear those pads you Americans wear and those helmets, but we're still banging shoulders, banging heads out there. You should appreciate that more than a guy rolling into the bench, grabbing his ankle when no one ever touched him.
It'll work if FIFA gets serious about it. I'm just not convinced they'll
Will
get
it make
serious.
them money? Let me answer for FIFA, because I think all FIFA sees is dollar signs, and whatever dollar sign in every country. If they feel like it makes them money, then it'll happen.
FIFA would be smart to Americanize the game even more. And Americans don't want to watch this. Europeans, South Americans, they're so used to it. It's their sport. They love the sport. In the end, they're fine with this. I mean, they might not be crazy about it, but they'll look past it.
Right.
The average American fan is going to look at it and say this is a turnoff because now I'm not paying attention to the parts of the sport that you said. You watch the World Cup and you're like, wow, this game is like way better than I thought.
Yep.
You see something like last night, you're like, the hell with this. FIFA needs to be, if FIFA is smart, they recognize that this is the one place on planet Earth where the game still has growth potential. And they need to do a better job appealing to American fans. This is the way to do it.
So
get this out of the game.
If they feel like they want my allegiance and they're tailoring it to an American, can I offer something that may be stupid? And I'm going to be honest.
Sure. I'll let you know if it's stupid.
Total casual.
That's why I'm here.
I would like to see the hockey-style offsides rule where if you have anything that's onsides, you're onside.
I agree.
Not the whole
with that.
body.
Yep.
If my toe is being dragged, I think that would grow the game and the excitement.
I agree. It would create a little bit more scoring.
Yes. And I don't think it's crazy.
No,
right?
I don't think it's crazy. I'm a big proponent of this, and I'm a soccer fan. I would love to see them loosen the offside rule, not eliminate it.
Right.
Some people are like, get rid of it. No. I understand why it exists. You want to eliminate cherry picking. You want to eliminate Holland playing.
Thank you. Erling Haaland would have 80 goals in this tournament if we eliminated offsides.
So, but loosening it so it's not if one part of your body is beyond the defender, it's if any part of your body is in line with the defender.
Right.
They're like, just loosen the rules just a little bit.
It'd be fun.
Because, man, how many goals get called back due to offsides and it's kind of minuscule?
Yep.
I don't know if that's the spirit of the rule.
Right.
A little tweak there. I don't think that's like a crazy non-soccer fan opinion. I think that's a sports fan opinion.
The idea of, Americanizing the sport, think about hockey before you could stand in the goalie crease. Games were
hockey had two-line pass.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Low scoring, but you kind of open things up, and then you might get more, a soccer fan could understand, the rigors and the trials of a 0-0 game or something that ends in a tie and go, that was a great game. Average American soccer fan goes, well, it was kind of stupid. Nobody scored anything. Yeah. Like, what's the point? So at the very least, if you're not eliminating, I don't think they're ever going to eliminate the flopping and the, my leg is in a million pieces. I don't think that's ever going away. I think you can open up more offense in the game because the offensive sets and sequences that we do see are excellent.
They're tremendous.
And just to have something get taken off the board because it clipped a guy's shoulder who was kind of leaning in to advance past his man, I think that's where people get frustrated. So if we're putting more points on the board, I think you could get more people invested in what's actually happening in the game.
It also just wouldn't change the sport, like what makes the sport great. because there are so many things that make the sport great. Loosening the offsides rule, I think, would just help it. It's not going to change the way the game is played that much. It probably creates a little bit more offense, a little bit more scoring, but it's not like all of a sudden you're going to be playing 7-6 games. I mean, a 2-1 soccer match can be tremendous. So if it's a 3-2 match instead of a 2-1 match, does it make a game a little bit better? Maybe it does, but I don't think it changes the spirit of the sport. I see on the phone lines, we'll take care of you. We went late. Apologies. I'm not apologizing. I don't know. I don't owe you. I'm going to pull a Joe Murray. I apologize, but I'm not sorry. We'll continue. It's Andy Hart's here, Matt McCarthy on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Can I do something that will ruin the good feelings?
I'd prefer you not, but okay.
Brian Bayo's back.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. I could not.
Back
could
where?
Not. With the Red Sox.
Which Red Sox?
The Boston Red Sox.
Really?
He's back.
Today?
They've called him up.
Because they only have one game, and then it's the All-Star break.
He's going to be in the bullpen today.
Are they worried about Peyton Tolley or something?
No, I think we're on this. I'm finally on the same page with the Boston Red Sox. They also went, oh, you know what? All this variance isn't good. Send in the cooler. This will work out that. This will fix that hot streak.
I just looked. So down in Worcester, he's 0-0 with a 4.34 ERA. 18 innings pitched over 4 starts, 9 earned runs allowed. Hasn't given up any home runs. That's good.
That's good. Can you tell me, when was the last time he pitched? Do you have a Bayo game log there?
Yeah, you might be asking for a little too much on Sunday morning. Major League Stats,
Minor league.
You got to go
last
MILD.
Game
7
logs.
games, 6.
Yeah, let's see. MILB.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay. When did he last pitch? You see, right, you got to go to minors, career stats. Let's go to game logs.
Last
here.
game in the majors was June 4th.
I had that.
Well, yeah.
His last game was July 1st. Last time he pitched. You know why he's up here?
He needs work. We're bringing guys up to get work now.
If you have an 18-inning game before the All-Star break, he goes out and he takes a beating for you. That's why he's here.
That's what he is now?
Yep.
Kyle Bearclaw.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the opening day starter a couple years ago?
That's correct. Yes, he was. The opening
just wanted
day
to
starter.
refresh.
The life comes at you fast.
Wasn't he Baby Pedro?
Yeah, that's always the kiss of death. Every pitcher Pedro has ever, and I love Pedro, but every pitcher Pedro has ever supported has been terrible. He is. You want to talk about take batting averages? He is 0-0-0.
Luis Severino was good for a while.
Yeah, if that's the best you have to offer.
A year. He was better than Bayo has been.
Wow.
Yeah, Brian Bayo back with the Boston Red Sox. 8-game winning streak. Vibes are good. Feelings are great. Here comes Brian Bayo back into the clubhouse.
Yeah. I don't
douse this fire.
Maybe Tolley just goes 7 strong with 13 strikeouts and we don't worry about it.
Yeah, he really is up in the event that the game just, goes sideways, and he'll be going back down, I'm sure. This is just a last game before the All-Star break. If we're losing this game, we just send Bayo out there and he just takes a beating for us, and that's that. And
poor guy.
Everybody goes home.
You think he knows that?
Yeah, he might not. He might not. Or he might. I don't know what Brian Bayo knows. I know he thinks he's a starter.
Yes.
He made that very clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're telling me he's not going to start for the Boston Red Sox?
No, I'm going to guess he would not start for the Red Sox. He's in the bullpen today, which is where he belongs.
Mentality, I think, has been one of his biggest issues.
No, you don't say.
Not just this season, but I think the entire time he has been here is figuring out what is going on between his ears. Could a 1-month stint in Worcester have just been enough for him to go, oh, okay, you know what? I know, guys, I was crazy the last time I was here, but I have perspective and I am on board. Let's go, team. Do you think it's not enough time?
I don't think. Really, it's probably because they couldn't send him to Fort Myers because they didn't want to poison Roman Anthony with him. So they're just, in some ways, I do wonder if this is, if they're in the punishment business. You've been riding the bus in Worcester. You're going to come up to the big leagues for one day. right before the All-Star break. You're going to sleep at the Ritz for one night, and then it's back to Worcester with you. Because that's all this is. I can't imagine he's going to be on the team on Friday unless there's some type of injury or corresponding move. But they needed a starter yesterday.
They have
and they
those, by the way.
What, injuries?
Injuries that
Yeah.
just kind of come up out of nowhere.
But they needed a starter yesterday.
And they didn't go to
He
bed.
could have started yesterday.
They did not go.
What'd you say, July 1st? So he's, no.
So he's just kind of been hanging around waiting for them to need him.
Yeah.
And they needed him yesterday and said, hey, we still don't need you. We're going to go get Eduardo. And it worked. I mean, Rivera tossed, 3 1/3 scoreless yesterday, and it was kind of a bullpen day. So, because they won that game, bullpen's probably a little short today, and they say, all right, well, if we're down in this game, Bayo goes out. We say we won 8 right before the break. We call this a day. This is the ultimate getaway day game in baseball. I predict this game will be played in about an hour and 56 minutes. And nobody wants to be there. We're swinging the bats today, boys, kind of day. Although you can't do that anymore with ABS, because the computer will object to the larger strike zone.
A little tap.
Yep.
Well, interestingly enough, I know I just had this whole, hey, maybe he's seen the light after spending time in Worcester. Jen McCaffrey tweeted that Brian Bayo is here to fill in bullpen role for today. He has declined to talk to the media. So it doesn't really seem to me, at least, that he is thrilled with his current situation within the Boston Red Sox.
I wouldn't be either if I were him.
Leave me alone.
So there's that. There's a way to make you feel worse about your day. Brian Bayo is back, baby. He's back. Stanley and Taunton with another thing to bring us down. Hi, Stanley.
Stanley.
I think we put him to sleep.
Nap time.
Stanley. Oh, I think he's snoring.
No, he is. Well, that sums up this program.
Yeah, that's a blow to the ego.
Good night, Stanley. It's not the first listener I put to sleep. It won't be the last.
Probably the same for me.
Yeah. How about Matt in Connecticut? You alive out there, Matt?
Hey, yeah, I'm not moaning into the phone.
Well, not yet. That'll be at the end of your phone call after you enjoy your experience with us.
All right. Two things going back before Bello is with the diving. So the first thing I wonder is, do these players behave like this outside in their real life? Can you imagine mowing the lawn and tripping on a stick and writhing in pain, and your wife comes out and she's like, "What's the matter with you? Why are you acting like that?" Does anybody look at them in their personal life you look like a douche? But anyways, okay. The second point is just a thought, and Andy Hart might know this guy, but a couple of years ago, a player came over to the NBA after being fed up with diving that was going on in the European leagues. A guy named Dino Raja came over in '93 from Virtus Roma, and they had the same issue. That was one of his complaints of playing in the league in Europe, is that it wasn't physical enough. People were diving, people were rolling around, and it's kind of interesting that it's come full circle at this point, where now it's in basketball in the U.S., something that that Dino and other European players, Joanna Lucier, didn't want to be a part of when they were over in Europe. So just thought that was an interesting correlation. Probably means nothing, but the NBA has now become that. They've become that 80s, 90s basketball in Europe, and now obviously they're the current soccer.
It's perverse. It's a disease. Diving is a disease. You got to cut it out.
The one thing I will say about the NBA, and I actually think it peaked a couple years ago in the NBA, I think they've reined it in a little bit, is they don't do the extra histrionics. Like you pointed out, not only did he flail, then he rolls a couple
Three times into the Argentine bench.
I don't know that I've ever seen that on a basketball court of any kind, high school, college, whatever. They just do the more traditional flopping or even the head whip. You know where this is and no one cares about this. No one cares about this at all. But I have a daughter who plays high school lacrosse. This is a bit of an issue in high school girls lacrosse.
Really?
If you defend a girl anywhere near her, she whips her head back, and it
Does
works.
the Marcus Smart? Ah!
It works almost every time. The good girls do it. I think it's girls that probably play a lot of club lacrosse or whatever. They do it, and I would say they get the whistle 90% of the time, and nowhere near anything happening to her. So we can blame soccer, but it does sort of start to offshoot. You know why they do it, though?
Because they get away with it.
It works.
Yep.
Right? They're doing it. So if you do what they did last night, and not only don't allow it to work, but actually significantly penalize it, you'll probably get rid of it pretty quickly.
You know what's even more effective than diving and flopping in sports? Shame. Shame is the most effective tool we have in our human toolbox. Nobody wants to be shamed. Now, I've been told this. So, when we were, developing, we were on the Serengeti and evolution and all this stuff. We were so terrified of being ostracized by our, by the club, the group, the clan.
Yeah.
Because if you were ostracized from the group, the lion would eat you, and that would be that.
Die.
So, this is like a human brain thing.
We're wired.
We are wired this way. We cannot afford to be ostracized and shamed by those around us, because if we get shunned by them, we're done. We're going to die. That's what our primal brains tell us. So there is no more effective tool than shame. We need to be shaming girls in high school lacrosse, shaming players in the FIFA World Cup, shaming NBA players. We must use the toolkit, and we must use the shame to get this out of the game.
So do that again. What's his name? Columbo? Or who? What was the guy's name who flopped?
Embolo.
Oh, Embolo.
Yeah.
You got to get Columbo. I knew
Columbo,
it wasn't
yeah.
right, but it was close. Matlock. It was one of those.
Right,
You got to keep the shame going. You got to put a name and a face and a legend and all that. Get T-shirts made and banners and posters.
Yep.
He needs to be the face of flopping in perpetuity to change things.
Correct. And his life will be defined by that entire moment. It is one of the great things about soccer is people never forget. If you miss a penalty in the World Cup final, people never forget who you are. Shame. You have brought shame upon your country. The Germans who refused to take a kick for their country in PKs against Paraguay. Shame. Shame on them. They'll probably never be let into the national team again. They'll be ostracized. They'll have to leave the country. All that stuff. It is a powerful weapon and a powerful tool. And when used for good, Andy, and not for bad, when used for good, because this is using shame for good, we will make sports a better place.
Or it's bullying, but whatever. Depends how you look.
No. There's a difference. Bullying is trying to actively harm someone for your own sick good.
Okay.
Shaming athletes to get this perverse disease out of the sport, the disease of diving, the disease of flopping, to create a more honorable sportman kind of sporting event, that is effective. That is what we should be doing.
Shame him then.
No, there's a difference
Shame on,
between
shamer.
bullying and shaming. We must shame. Shame. John in Cambridge. Hi, John.
How are you guys? I like the show.
Thanks.
I want to talk a little about soccer. I watched all the games, and I'm 75. I literally had nothing else to do. And I don't understand pretty much any of the rules. And not only do I not understand any of the rules, the announcers use the word on every play that it was a brilliant play. And they always use the word, what a beautiful game. They kept over promoting it. Lastly, as a Little League coach for 16 years, I really, and my kids all were pretty good jocks. I tried to keep my kids away from what I like to call the soccer Nazi coaches, because when they get a hold of a kid, they make them play 12 months out of the year. And there's too many other American great sports for that kid to play than soccer.
Okay, John, thanks a lot. I am actively trying to hold soccer down in this country, says John in Cambridge, a man who also admits he has nothing better to do. So I love the honesty, John. Thank you for the call. We'll continue. Matt McCarthy and Andy Hart. Something did happen in the soccer world last night that you found fascinating. Andy.
Unbelievably fascinating, and it was from a winning team that their post game did not feel like they won. And it's wait till you hear the audio from it.
We'll hear that next. We continue. Matt McCarthy and Andy Hart on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Big time British day,
The British.
UK day. And something happened last night, of course, England advancing, beating Norway 2-1.
Yeah.
Something happened last night that you found very interesting, Andy.
Yes, Thomas Tuchel, whatever he is, German head coach of England, was doing his post-game interview after you said they're advancing to the Final Four in the World Cup. They got a 2-1 victory. And a sideline reporter, sounds like maybe a British guy, is talking to him about the game. And it felt Belichickian to me, the way Thomas Tuchel approached his comments, and then it just went sideways, and it became a back and forth that was very uncomfortable.
Well, you've talked about your team suffering before. Today, how do you sum up what the team have found?
I didn't talk about suffering. I talked about
So right off the bat,
great.
Just so you know, this isn't even close to the back and forth I'm talking about. But I did notice this. The guy brings up a word, which is very Belichickian. You do that to Belichick. Bill, you said that the run game was an issue. I don't think I said that, Andy.
said that, Andy.
And it's like, oh boy, we're going down this road already. And Bill, I didn't start my question yet. That was a preamble to my question, and that's what this was. Like, I didn't say suffering. Well, he was angry.
Andy's having angry press conference PTSD right here.
Oh, there's a lot of it. 20 years. There's a lot of it to go around in my head. But yes, that is not the worst of the angst between these two men.
Well, you've talked about your team suffering before. Today, how do you sum up what the team have found?
I didn't talk about suffering. I talked about I never talked about suffering. We made life very, very difficult for ourselves today. The result is fantastic. We're in the last four. It's amazing, but not happy with the performance.
In what sense?
In every sense.
This is great. And by the way, I think these are two wonderful cultures colliding here. Tuchel is German, and he's just so to the point.
Yep.
No, this is what it is. And you have, the British guy with his Britishisms. This is tremendous. This is great.
It's amazing, but not happy with the performance.
In what sense?
In every sense. Because, again, the commitment is there, but we made life very, very difficult for us in the way we played, how we played. Sloppy, a lot of technical mistakes, not fast enough, not repetitive enough. We were lucky today.
Was that the occasion? Getting to the players?
I don't know, it's
mentality thing?
Oh, nothing. No, it's no mentality.
But if you're not happy with the players?
This is pure mentality. How can you ask about mentality now? This is pure mentality. It's not about mentality.
No, I mean when the players had the problem, was that the mentality? What was
there's no mentality problem. This is pure mentality. This is pure mentality. You can bottle it up and sell it.
Awesome.
Pause right there for a second.
Tremendous.
And he gets...
I haven't heard this before.
He gets handsy, not with the guy, but with he starts talking with his hands and spreading his arms this is mentality. What are you bringing up mentality for? Look at this. It's all mentality, which... I don't really know.
I have no idea what they're arguing about.
At this point, I didn't. I stopped knowing what they were arguing about and just was entertained.
It's almost like he just so badly wants to get away from everybody. So for Fox postgame, it sounds like they're using a noise compressor on the microphones because
you hear Wonderwall in the background.
You can hear just the faintest glimpse of Wonderwall being sung by the British fans, which means it is astoundingly loud. So he's probably hot, tired. His team did not play well, and then he's got this guy following up everything he's saying with get into that, and he obviously does not want to get into any of this.
Nope.
And I think it's just all kind of culminating at once, and he is not handling it well.
It's not about mentality.
No, I mean when the players had the problem, was that the mentality? What was
there's no mentality problem. This is pure mentality. This is pure mentality. You can bottle it up and sell it.
Absolutely.
So why is the problem for mentality? It's the quality of our games. That's it. This has nothing to do with mentality.
But what about in terms of the players who came in then? The adjustments you made?
Very good.
Reece James.
Very good.
You backed Reece James a lot throughout your
Reece James
career.
was excellent.
And Reece today.
Morgan Rogers was fantastic today. Epps grew into the game. Chet grew into the game. So full credit to them. But overall, we got lucky today.
And it is about the squad, though. You said it would be about the squad.
Yeah, but it's also a bit about quality. We need to play better.
Okay, what about Jude Bellingham and his quality?
Enough said. He does it every single match. World class.
And how do you sum up now what your team need to find if you're not happy today for a semi-final? You are in a World Cup semi-final.
Yeah. We will get better. We need to get better.
Whatever.
Now it's celebration, and now it's taking it all in. We have 3 days. We need everything. We need better performance.
So Jude Bellingham has been outstanding.
Yes.
He's been one of the best players in the tournament. You
Correct.
hear the English fans serenading him with "Hey Jude" after he scores 2 more goals yesterday.
Yep.
I mean, wills England to the semifinals of this tournament. I will say, it got Belichickian again when he asked about his best player. He's like, oh, yeah, whatever. Like, this isn't,
Right.
It wasn't exactly open heart surgery kind of thing.
There's a lot of comparisons to Belichick.
Yeah.
The style. Now, I don't know if it would have been quite as an emotional back and forth as fewer words from Belichick, more throw-up face, because he did the Belichick throw-up face. We used to call it throw-up face when he is asked something and he just gives the, like, I just want to throw up all over you at this press conference. He did that. He then just spoke more about it. But this, I don't know. These things are usually useless, right? Like,
Sure.
let's be
Oh, yeah,
honest.
always.
Like, the post-game
Always.
interview, the sideline reporter, almost you don't listen. This might be the greatest I've ever seen. For the way it started, what was the word he used?
Mentality.
No, the one before that set him off. I never said that.
Suffering.
Suffering.
Oh, suffering.
Coach, you said suffering. I never said suffering. Okay, we're going to start that way.
Well, you've talked about your team suffering before. Today, how do you sum up what the team have found?
I didn't talk about suffering.
Ooh, so that's how we're starting this out. Like, the guy wrote down a few things. He
Yeah.
prepped for the interview. He's got his notebook in case you have that, heat of the moment brain fart. You got your notes to look at. And it just went sideways from there.
Says right here, suffering.
Yeah, the producer told me, he actually played me the clip in my ear before we started this. You said suffering. I did also then wonder, is there like a second language English thing going on here too? Potentially like mentality? They're not treating the word mentality with the same
Maybe
definition?
Maybe not. I just think that it was just very German. Like, no, that's not the way it is. 9. That's not the way it is at all.
Full credit to them, but overall we got lucky today.
We got lucky today.
And
No,
so there's a
that's-
second part of this, though.
Is-
There's a
it
whole
doesn't
second
stop
part.
there?
It actually gets worse.
So he gave what you said was a Belichickian response about Bellingham, who's
Yeah.
carrying his team to potentially a World Cup,
Yeah.
right? Like single-headedly carrying his team to a World Cup, and he gave him the Belichickian, remember the Tom Brady thumb game?
Yeah.
It wasn't open heart surgery.
Right.
I mean, he went out there. We play football, not open heart surgery out here. Well, Bellingham was asked about the coach after the game, and this, I've read some of these quotes, but I want to hear them because I'm very intrigued at what is going on between the star footballer and his coach.
Thomas has just been quite critical of the performance after the game.
So right away, I don't think that's something you would ever hear at any Patriots press conference where somebody asking a question is almost editorializing before they go.
The English sports media is the best.
This is good.
Oh, it's
This is
tremendous.
good stuff.
Thomas has just been quite critical of the performance after the game. Does that show the standards that he expects, the standards you guys expect of each other, and maybe that there's more to come from the team?
Maybe he doesn't know what it's like to play in those kind of conditions against Erling Haaland, Odegaard, Nusa, Sorloth. That's not an easy team to play against. So, I think we've tried to create a positive environment. We should continue that going into the Final Four. I can't speak highly enough for the lads. You're not going to win every game popping the ball and making 1,000 passes. Sometimes you have to win dirty, and we've done that again tonight.
Oh, man. No, he calls out the German style of play, which is a lot of passing. Like, well, we're not going to win that way.
And he shoots down the reporter who gives him an out. Is that just your coach having a high standard? Yeah, you could be that, or he might not know what he's talking about.
Maybe he doesn't know what it's like to play in those kind of conditions.
And this is heading into
the semifinal.
4 years of preparation to be on the biggest stage that that any sport presents, right? And your star player. So we did this with, Brown and Tatum, or we do this with Brown and Missoula. We do this with Belichick and Brett. We never saw this. We never saw the overt, before our eyes, in the media, back and forth that they're not on the same page.
But that's one of the amazing things about not only, soccer in England, but just soccer in Europe in general. You think we're dramatic here? Yeah, I mean, in this town, on this station, it is child's play compared to what they do over there, how seriously they take it, the infighting, the drama, who hates who. You don't have to guess about who hates who.
Right.
We don't need Shams to come out and say, hey, Brown and Tatum kind of haven't been friends for a while, and then we do the see, we told you so. No. They will be like to your face, like, no, I don't like that guy.
Right.
He's the worst. I'm like, well, but that's your coach. That's your teammate. I don't like him.
I feel like I
hate him.
could go do an expert hit on the BBC and be like, according to two sources, the relationship between the coach and the star player is not very good right now. Because I just saw it on live television.
Did you just say it gets worse, Garvin?
So that was Jude Bellingham, I believe, at the podium. I found more. They caught up with Jude Bellingham immediately after the game. So this is Jude Bellingham on the pitch being asked. I'm guessing they caught up with him right after the coach.
The manager's actually not very happy. He said he was disappointed with the performance. There could have been more in many different ways.
Well, whatever.
Oh
my God.
Tell me you don't like the World Cup.
Oh, I love
This
it.
is tremendous.
The theater of it is unlike anything in sports I have ever.
Serious
sat through.
question. Do they have
Can I
sports
get
talk
that
radio?
again? It's so good. It's so good.
I think they do.
Do they have sports
must.
talk radio in England?
I'd
Because
be
right now, this is
shocked
the
if they
highlight of their lives if they have sports talk radio in England.
Well, whatever.
I think he obviously believes there could be more from the team.
Yeah, it's difficult out there. It's difficult. It's a tough shift. All the players are putting a very tough shift. So my thoughts and appreciation goes to the players who's out there who put in a great shift yet again.
Screw that guy.
So he had time after the game to cool down and think about it, and then gets up in front of the podium, and then once again just
Maybe he doesn't know what it's like to play in those kind of conditions.
he doubled down on it.
love
I
it.
think I just became a fan of Jude Bellingham.
Absolutely.
Oh, tremendous.
I also think this is an interesting aspect of this, too, that the coach of England is a German guy.
Yeah.
So it's like this national pride event, except the guy steering the ship, driving the bus, isn't one of us.
So believe it or not, I actually think that benefits the English here. They had Gareth Southgate, who's a legend of theirs, missed a penalty years ago, but like was one of their guys. Going outside of the country to find your national team coach, who probably will, create a little bit more conflict. It probably is actually benefiting them. I will say this, so the English, and I know you're a casual soccer guy, the English are kind of the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Toronto Maple Leafs. They haven't won in 60 years. It's, the most important sport there by far. I mean, find me fans in a country who cares more about soccer than the English do. So there is an immense amount of pressure. Immense. So the fact that they're infighting, I actually think is creating a little bit more toughness for them. They have shown more toughness in this tournament than you typically see from the English. Don't get me wrong. They're still going to find a way to choke spectacularly, either in the semifinal or the final, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I think the conflict's actually making them a little bit better. That would just be my observation as a soccer fan.
Oh, whatever.
It's making my entertainment value better. I care about, I'm going to watch that game, not just because it's a World Cup game, but now I'm watching to see, is there something going on? Are they not listening to not that I would even know. I'd probably need somebody to tell me if they're kind of not listening to the coach or blowing off the coach or doing their own, what was it, off script? Jaylen Brown was going off script in the playoffs.
Freelancing. It was Jamie Collins freelancing.
Oh, yeah, he freelanced.
Yeah.
I may need somebody to tell me that Bellingham is freelancing, but also if he's freelancing, it's working. He's carrying his team to the next round, so keep freelancing.
These guys sound like they've never had a conversation before. They've never sat and talked about the game.
Oh, no. I think they have had a conversation, and that's why they sound that way.
It was not
talked about suffering.
They have never had a steak dinner and enjoyed it with each other. I can guarantee that. They are not going out. Remember that? Belichick and Brady never went out to dinner.
Yeah.
Guarantee you Bellingham and Tuchel, whatever his name is, have never been out to dinner together.
Thank you for playing that for me. I had not
It's
heard
tremendous.
That was awesome.
And
just great.
Again, we don't have to keep going down this road, but it was also very entertaining to hear the Fox broadcast. And who's the French guy?
Thierry Henry.
Yeah, he was the first one that spoke. He hated the reporter. He ripped the reporter for mentality. He kept fixating on mentality. And then they went down this whole, who's the big Z guy next to him?
Zlatan
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
And they talked for a good 10 minutes about this whole thing.
You see, but this is soccer culture in Europe. There are no punches. I mean, pulled, right?
Yeah.
Would that be the term?
Yeah.
They don't care. They will tell you to your face what they think of you. And you're here in America, we're so soft. I mean, Jason Tatum, love you, bro, kind of thing. No, that would never happen over there. It would be I hate you. Thank God you're gone. I'll never talk to you again.
Thomas Tuchel, being a manager, clearly not happy, says they got lucky today, animated. Your reaction to that interview, Thierry?
I didn't understand the questions. The guy is telling you actually that it was all effort and mentality, and you're asking about the mentality. He was talking about the technical aspect of the game. He wasn't happy with how the players were playing. I think he wasn't happy with Madueke. He wasn't happy with the speed. He wasn't happy about it. That's why he changed stuff straight away. You don't even need to ask that question. If he's changing stuff, it's because he's not happy with what's on the field. And what we cannot doubt with this team is the mentality that they have.
Sometimes they accuse us in the media of like taking care of our own, and that didn't happen there. I don't understand why he's asking the question. Mentality. Are you even listening to what he said to you?
This is pure mentality. You can bottle it up and sell it.
That's gold. That is gold right before and you never knew it was coming.
God, we have no edge here in the way we talk about sports. You think we have edge? There's no edge.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, no.
We're so soft compared to all of them.
Yes,
over there.
That's everywhere too. That includes Boston, where we like to trumpet it up like we're still in New York and Philly and Boston still have tough media cores. No,
by American standards,
right?
Yeah,
but not even by our own standards of historically
compared to 30 years ago.
Yeah,
no. There's none of that. Everybody's friends with everybody involved, like you and Alex Cora.
All right.
Yeah, you won't criticize Alex Cora. He's BFF.
Well, the numbers are starting to criticize him.
We'll continue. I see you on the phone lines. Take care of you. Matt McCarthy and Andy Hart.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
It. But to me, this is different. And I actually think in a way, and maybe I'm being unfair with this, MLS is our version of soccer here.
Yeah.
And, I watch some of these stars and the things they do. And I mentioned to you the physicality in general of the games. The other thing is just the skill of the star players and the regularity with which they've come through. Like, if you're a simpleton like me and you're like, hey, I'm going to watch Mbappe play. Mm-hmm. And then he scores a couple goals.
You're like, this guy's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, he shows up. Right. Like, you didn't get a... in American sports, it feels like you watch something and maybe the guy does or does. NBA. I don't know, he sits out the game because it's load management. And I know this is World Cup. It's different. But, feels like the stars in this tournament, other than ours.
Pulisic, big-time load management guy over there.
He tapped out. But it feels like, and the quickness with which they get off a shot in a tight space, like high velocity with some mustard on it is remarkable. And that's why I think the stuff we talked about earlier, the flopping or the rules and things, the FIFA, and you think they're, cheats and whatever, crooks, overshadows the elite athletes that these guys are.
No doubt about it. You see the goal in the Argentina game last night? Garvin, did you see this? It was the second goal. It was ultimately the goal that won the game. Ridiculous.
That goal in the first goal in the Norway-England game, that looked like a crosser, and he picked the top right corner of the net. Those are two. I'm like, this is why I want to watch for stuff like that.
Well, and as you mentioned, the stars have shown up. This is a dream for FIFA. I mean, you look at the leaders in the Golden Boot: Messi, Mbappe, Haaland, Bellingham right behind with 6 at this point. I mean, that is just. Every single star in the world pretty much has shown up.
And for me, again, a casual, I think, as we are, so who played there last? Ronaldo. No. I'm talking, some of these stars are.
Ronaldo played.
So Ronaldo. So that's a name I know, obviously, superstar globally, whatever. I didn't know Haaland. I didn't know Bellingham. And these are guys that are in their, I'm assuming, late 20s. So they got.
Bellingham's 23.
2 or 3 more World Cups in them. Like, I personally, as the casual, am learning names that will be relevant in 4 years.
I'm curious, are you thinking of picking like a Premier League team or like adopting a team? Or you're just like, I'm going to wake me up when this happens again?
Okay, so this will probably get me in trouble with some. I've never watched a Premier League game in my life. If I take my World Cup experience and I go watch a Premier League game, am I going to feel a letdown, or am I going to? Because I have enjoyed.
No, you will not feel a letdown from the quality of play.
Okay, so then
the quality of play
I might be more interested. If I'm clicking through, or I find, I'm probably not going to seek it out. I'm not going to pretend I'm going to But if I'm going through and this is a terrible example, they'll be offended. But I stop sometimes on the UFL. USFL, whatever the hell it's called.
Oh, gee, you and Alex Barth can do that.
It's spring football, and I'm like, I'll stop for a minute. Normally with soccer, I wouldn't. Now I would stop and see if I recognize anybody, see if it's a good quality of play, things of that nature, because yes, this has absolutely drawn me in learning the physics. Even Holland yesterday. Now I have two things on him.
Dude, he's like Gronkowski.
Well, he shoves a guy to the ground,
yeah.
throws him out the club, getting a goal wiped out, which I think the guy went with it. That was an NBA style flop. He went with it. He sold it, which I'm kind of okay with. That's probably part of the game.
Right.
But then Holland, you're down a goal and he goes to the bench. Like, what happened there?
You could tell he was pissed.
But
that is a thing.
How does it happen?
That is a thing in the sport.
You're not benching LeBron in that situation. You're not benching Tom Brady in that situation.
They do take off attackers in the sport because it's like we need fresher legs. But you could tell Holland did not want to come
Doesn't
off.
he have like 8 goals or 10 goals or something stupid?
That was crazy to me.
And you're
you could
watching
tell
him
he
on the
did not want to
sideline,
come
and he
off.
went to like the second row of the bench, and he's like got his hand on it, and I'm like, he's not hurt.
Yeah, because he's like, you should not be taking me off in this spot.
I truly don't understand it. To me, that feels like overthinking.
I agree. Like, that guy is a freak.
Yeah.
Like, just even if he's got tired legs, they all have tired legs out there. It's 95 degrees in Miami, and they've been running around for an hour and 20 minutes.
Right.
Like,
knowing very little of him based on his stats, and 70% of him is better than whatever you're putting in.
Couldn't agree more.
So, but yeah, I feel like I'm kind of connecting with soccer.
You and the rest of Boston. The ratings have been coming out.
Yeah.
And the television ratings have been unbelievable, off the charts. I mean, 50 million people watching Belgium, USA, 47 million watching Mexico, England.
Yeah.
The ratings have been incredible, especially here in Boston. Number 3 market for Fox, Boston.
Huge.
Kansas City, Austin, then Boston.
And you know what
Providence number 9 too. So I mean, that's, you combine those two markets, which
walking.
I know is something you guys used to love to do.
All
across the
right.
street, combine the markets. That was
What about
more...
streaming? Are we getting credit for that? Has that worked in there?
This time we might.
Boston has, you could argue, has essentially been the number 1 market for soccer. This region has been the number 1, the most invested region from a television standpoint. Which to me is great, and it's amazing, and it just goes to show that there's so much more room for growth for the sport here as somebody who cares about the sport and really does enjoy it.
And I think the big thing that they should get credit for, should use as a springboard, is we watch the Olympics, right? Mm-hmm. But usually we just watch the Olympics for the flag.
Yeah.
You watch Americans.
Yeah.
And I'm watching non-American. It does.
Right.
But I'm watching a lot of other games.
Yeah.
I'm watching and getting angry and getting invested. The freaking Portugal-Croatia game where they called off a goal late, which I'm still not sure. It nicked the guy going by, and they called the offsides and the whole thing.
How about
still
the
not sure.
Iran-Egypt game, which I stayed up for till 1 a.m.
Right.
And it's like, this is rigged. This is
Right.
criminal. Because, yes, it's all rigged. Oh, my God, is it rigged? FIFA is as corrupt as it gets.
We're not just watching it because it's Americans competing and I want to root for the American. We're just watching the sport. We're watching teams we don't have really a rooting interest in.
It's hard not to get. So you were asking me, like, does the Premier League have this feel? The answer is yes and no. The quality of play is excellent and outstanding, and I think this is one of the things that holds the sport back in the country is you go to an MLS game and you're like, oh, yeah, these guys aren't the best players in the world.
Right.
I mean, it's Messi and, a bunch of, guys who are not going to play at that level. And yeah, I know MLS has a bunch of guys playing in the World Cup. Take a look at the U.S. players who play in Europe and the U.S. players who play in MLS. There's a massive difference. So it's the only sport where the best players in the world don't play here.
Right.
So that's why if you're a soccer fan and you say, hey, I want to seek this out a little bit more, I want to engage with the sport more, watch the Premier League and you'll say the quality of play is amazing. What it doesn't have is, and this is, you can't replicate it anywhere else, and we've seen this with the Olympics, we've seen this with the World Baseball Classic. International competition, I think people love international competition. How could you not? There's just so much energy and so many different cultures coming together, and it's so much fun. I mean, the songs, the traditions, the everything. People get, it's almost like college football-y in that vibe. You have a little bit of that. But the international competition creates so much interest. The 4 nations, the Winter Olympics, the World Baseball Classic. You're not going to get that with the Premier League because the World Cup is that on an even grander scale.
Right.
But you'll get the quality of play, and you'll say, hey, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where Holland plays. That's where all those guys play for the most part.
And there's also the aspect, like down by me, obviously a huge Portuguese population, and then Cape Verdean population, and some of that. And sometimes you just get caught up in your friends are like, I don't really care if Cape Verde wins or whatever, but they're all happy. So I'm just kind of get caught up by osmosis in the situation.
Well,
and
the
all that.
Scots showing up here, and I mean, I listen. I would always have said I was Irish. I am 25% Scottish. I've never felt so Scottish hanging out with the Scots at Biddy Early's.
Right.
That was great. Singing Flower of Scotland. I'm like, I don't even know the words. I'm going to try singing anyway. This is great.
No, this has
Pulling
been
it up on my phone. What are the lyrics here?
This been more remarkable than I ever would have expected.
And the idea that, you said Boston is number 3 for Fox in ratings and Rhode Island is number 9. So I don't know if I would have predicted that it would have caught on that much here. And it wasn't just a or at least to me, it doesn't feel like a United States thing. It doesn't feel like, getting swept up with the Scots and the Tartan Army. It feels like this has filled a void in this region. And it's one of these things that, so when the Connecticut Sun got sold, I wanted a team in Boston. One, because I like the game, but more importantly, I would love to see somebody go head-to-head with the Boston Red Sox during the summer. And I think this is showing, if not soccer, just to kind of go back to, how we started the show railing against the Red Sox, that there is a desire for, I don't know, something new, something fresh. There is a willingness, clearly based on the ratings, that people in this region, they're sports fans. Ultimately, at the end of the day, with baseball, hockey, whatever, I think to our core, it is a region of sports fanatics, and this has been such a good watching experience that, going forward, I don't know if it's, a basketball team, a soccer team, women's professional hockey, whatever it is. I think there is room in this region to have something else going on during the summer, especially if the Red Sox, I get it. They've won 16 out of 20 or whatever, but ultimately throughout the majority of this year, they have been unwatchable. And leave it to the World Cup to come in and just swoop up people in the summertime where you have all the time to do whatever, and they're choosing to watch soccer.
It has saved this summer from a sports perspective. It's saved me from a professional perspective.
We're going into the All-Star break, which is like death, and we have these 2 knockout games this week to talk about.
Wait, Wednesday, which is normally the worst sports day of the year, you're going to get England-Argentina on Wednesday? Oh, my God. I'm working
right
Wednesday.
in the middle of the afternoon.
Oh, God, that sucks. I'm working Wednesday. Anyway,
you sick? You going to call in? You feeling a little something?
You sound a little froggy.
There's a parasite going around. No, it's a parasite.
It's not good.
Hey, boss, the parasite. I had some lettuce and you don't want me anywhere near the office. Nope, not coming in, boss.
No, exactly.
Bad things, man.
It's saved the summer, man. I was talking about this off the air with Jim Murray yesterday. Now, Jim, is a man who he feels very strongly about things he wants to talk about, does not want to talk about.
Did you say Mount Shushmore?
We were talking about his Mount
That's
Shushmore.
so good.
That is really good.
The Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum relationship and the trade, and really anything to do with the Celtics right now is on Jim's Mount Shushmore list. I tend to agree. It's like we did it for a week. What more is there to say about it? The World Cup has saved me. I'm just feeling joy as a sports fan, which I really want to.
And I think one thing that has helped a little bit, now there's maybe a small portion of the audience, but the time of year, you're right, there's an opening for somebody to fill the void, 100%, and they've done that. I also think technology, because I don't know about you guys, I have a growing list of friends. I haven't reached it where I have a permanent outdoor TV, but I do have a Roku TV that I just slap an extension cord on so you can sit by the fire pit, you can sit on the picnic table and just connect to your Wi-Fi. And I have watched at least 4 or 5 of these games outside. And I've seen more and more people doing that. And I think that, you don't have to pick between it's summer and I want to be outside with a beer and a fire or by the pool and TV, because more people, not just rich people, are having outdoor TVs now.
No, I mean, TVs are relatively affordable. Right. Anybody can kind of figure it out. Anybody can rig it up. Next Sunday, I'm going to a cookout. It's the World Cup final.
It'll be out.
That thing will be out there.
Yep.
Oh, can't wait.
And I think that helps. People
Sit
stay
outside,
interested.
Watch the World Cup final. 3 o'clock on a Sunday too. Oh my God.
They do it right.
They do. I mean, you don't have to wait until 6 o'clock.
But
3 o'clock Sunday afternoon. Oh my God. That is going to be, I bet you, I don't know, 50 million watch the U.S. I bet you we get to 60 million people watch that World Cup final here in the United States.
I'll watch it.
I can't wait for it. It's going to be a tremendous final. with these 4 teams left in it. England, Argentina, France, Spain. You imagine France, England for the World Cup final? That's awesome. Argentina, too, with Messi, who, by the way, they're totally rigging it in his favor. I see on the phone lines about that, your frustration with FIFA. We'll get to that. And anything you want. Because that is one of the few problems with the World Cup is it is blatantly rigged. Some of these matches are... But you know what? I'm still enjoying it anyway.
I kind of like it. I kind of like the drama and the shenanigans. I've been saying it. It's like we've gotten too far away from shenanigans in American sports, and now it's just all like FBI investigations. I like a little bit of corruption under the table.
Hey, listen.
I'm not against it.
If the corruption isn't affecting me, well, and then, of course, we got very much involved in the corruption. We rigged our starting lineup. The only problem is when Argentina gets stuff rigged in their favor, they find a way to win.
Because they're good.
Yeah, when we get stuff rigged in our favor, we lose 4-1. There's that.
Lose. That was one of the most embarrassing, underwhelming, disappointing sporting events of my lifetime. Because I'm new to this.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting sucked in. And I was reading all you fraud soccer journalists who were writing about, yes, the U.S. can actually compete for a World Cup.
Yeah.
And this might be the year it was elevated.
I was right there with them. I was like,
everybody.
They can beat Belgium. Belgium's kind of washed.
All you soccer people were telling me that.
Sorry about that.
And I click it on, and I was like, we can't compete.
No.
And I don't know soccer, but I knew immediately they're better than us.
Yeah.
All their guys are quicker. Their passes are sharper. Like, we looked like a second-tier team compared. And then you frauds.
Me. I agree. Yep.
I'm reading columns the next day. Same old U.S. never had a chance to compete. Blow it up. We don't have the players. And I'm like, whoa. No, you weren't saying that 2 days ago. You were suckering me into believing, because I don't know what I'm talking about, and I listened to you experts, and then a day later you cut ties with this U.S. program. You frauds.
Yeah, no, hand up. Total fraud. I jumped shipped as fast as you could. I was the first one on the lifeboat. I saw the first 2 minutes of that game. I was like, well, I was wrong about this one. Belgium's not washed, and we're still the same.
You suckers made me make donations to my frickin' gambling apps because I picked the U.S. and I knew immediately. You're right. It took minutes. Yeah, minutes. Literally minutes into that game.
2 minutes in, you're like, uh-oh.
Oh, I've done a terrible thing. I put my money where these idiots told me to, and there's no shot.
Sorry about that. I owe you $20, Andy Hart. We'll continue. It's Matt McCarthy and Andy Hart.
Boston's home for sports, 98.5.
Yet another thing I'm wrong about.
Absolutely.
Something I said an hour ago. I said, Brian Bayo's only here just in the event that, things go bad. You fall behind by a few runs. We're just going to send him out there to take a beating. He's not actually going to be expected to, help the team in any way.
Okay.
I see a very concerned look on your face.
I do. So where's this going?
Tim Healy tweeting this out. Chad Tracy said with a smile that today could be a shorter by design start for Peyton Tolley. So that might be a worthwhile bit of context for why the Red Sox wanted a long reliever in the form of Brian Bayo today. Peyton Tolley essentially is opening for Brian Bayo today.
Yeah, I don't care for that.
Don't like that. You want to kill some good vibes? We had a good thing going on here. And I do understand the concern about, Tolley's innings limit and all these young kids. They're going to need to rely on them. It's the day before the All-Star break. That I get. The Brian Bayo element of it, once you introduce the Brian Bayo factor into things, that's bad news. Bad news.
And I'll tell you who likes hearing that even less than you. There is a truckload of 19-year-old boys. My son and his buddies are driving down this morning to go to the game.
Oh, no.
And we're very excited that they have Peyton Tolley on the mount.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be quite as excited when Brian Bayo enters the game.
You might want to text them. They might want to
turn around Riverside. Just pull a Yui, right in the middle of 95. Just drive over the median, head on back. It's not going to be worth your time today.
No, save your time, save your effort, save your money.
It's a Sunday, so can I ask? We're just going to veer here.
Sure, why not?
Because I actually got a phone call during a break from said truck on its way down 95, and they were in a heated sports debate argument that they wanted some input on. I gave my input, and I told them at some point I would ask you guys. Is Kevin O'Connell a better coach than, why am I drawing a blank?
Mike Vrabel?
No, the Lions coach.
Dan Campbell?
Dan Campbell.
Oh, God, yes, he's a better coach than Dan Campbell. Oh my, it's not even close.
You are stronger on it than I am, I'll be honest. But and they were not happy. The whole truck screamed when I answered them, and there were some that were so upset it wasn't even funny.
What?
I said Kevin O'Connell. They think strongly that Dan Campbell is better.
I don't want to question the intelligence of the kids in the car.
I would. However, I've met all of them, and I would.
Yeah, I mean that really feels like Dan Campbell is stupid, and proudly stupid.
Right.
He embraces the fact that he does not have two brain cells to rub together.
I love him as a fellow meathead and hardo and all of those things.
Yes, but as a coach, that role does require the occasional educated, intelligent decision.
Right.
And when presented with an opportunity to make an educated, intelligent decision, he directly embraces, I am incapable of this, and I am going to deliberately make the stupid decision, but I'm going to embrace it so hard. It's like, this is the wrong decision. It's very stupid, but I'm tough stupid, and I'm going to make, you're not going to scare us, man. And, well, sir, this is not the right choice. Yeah, don't tell me what to do. I know it's stupid, but I'm going to do it stupid better than anybody else because I'm tough and I'm going to prove it. I might say that they're being influenced by that, and maybe, I don't know, they should embrace their own intelligence that is deep within them to say that maybe, just maybe, Dan Campbell is an absolute moron.
Wow. I don't know. I won't go as hard to the paint as McCarthy just did, but I was thinking about, so the Vikings went 9-8 last year. It was the year before that Sam Darnold was their whole season and the reason that the Vikings were the least bit competitive. So I think that a lot of people who know more about football than I do aren't so big on J.J. McCarthy. So I think the fact that you're able to have back-to-back seasons over 500 without, on paper, your franchise cornerstone quarterback, that has to count for something. Off the top of my head, I don't know if Dan Campbell has been in any situation even remotely close to that since he's been with Detroit. But if you start taking away high-end pieces from the Lions, do they continue to have any level of success compared to what Minnesota has?
And that process has started. I actually thought he was going to fall more on his face last year than he did by losing his coordinators, and he did not. But I think that's a fair, as you start to pull away pieces, now you don't have the two running backs, you have the one, and as you start to make some tough decisions.
Carson Wentz and Sam Darnold.
So, yeah, So the root of this debate actually was a challenge that somebody said they could name 10 coaches better than Dan Campbell.
Okay.
You got to prove it. And apparently number 10 to prove it was Kevin O'Connell. It was all accepted. The first 9 qualified, and then they got into a massive fight that Kevin O'Connell was the 10th coach better than Dan Campbell.
The only reason I hesitate with that challenge is off the top of my head, in July, could I name 10 NFL head coaches? Which I'm sure I could. Yeah, but it might just take me a few minutes to get the brain going there a little bit. Let's see. McVay, yes, better. Vrabel, yes, better. Kevin O'Connell, yes, better. Sean Payton, better. Again, I'm just going to run out of coach ideas here.
Andy Reid.
I think you have to go short sample. Mike McDonald, the head coach of the Seahawks,
Mike McDonald,
in 2 years wins a Super Bowl.
Definitely better. Sirianni, yeah.
That's the right answer. That is literally the right answer. He nailed it. We speak the same language.
Yeah, that's also the same language that Dan Campbell speaks.
Kinda.
Just make a noise.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson better than... Because everybody says the Bears are supposed to have this great season.
I'm not a Ben Johnson guy because I hate offensive coordinators, and I think it's the most overrated thing in all of sports. The genius offensive coordinator, whatever.
How about the genius special teamer, John Harbaugh?
Yeah, just blow it out your ass. The genius, he is the best scheme on planet Earth. Oh, who cares? It really matters whether you have a quarterback or not. I don't care one bit about your scheme. You give Tom Brady Matt Patricia as his offensive coordinator, you know who would be fine? Tom Brady.
Correct.
Because it comes straight down to who your quarterback is or not. But yeah, give me revolutionary genius, the most brilliant schemer of schemes on planet Earth, Ben Johnson over Dan Campbell, who you want to talk about X's and O's? I don't think even knows those are letters.
I was going to say, he's kind of going down the Andy Hart road of Andy Hart hates everything. There's certain people out there that think I hate everything and bitch about everything.
I think you like many things.
I do. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that. But you just said you hate the meathead hardo coach and you hate the schematic genius coach. So what kind of coach you like?
I actually hate coaches.
Okay.
I think there is I call it big coach.
You and Bellingham have that in common.
And you know who's right? Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham went out and scored 2 goals yesterday. Thomas Tuchel did not. So I am player over coach always. I think we live in an environment where coaches, as you know, Andy, because you're best friends with Alex Cora, tend to buddy up to the media.
Yeah.
They butter us up, and it really is done for their own egos and their own reputation and their personal well-being, because they want to be given more credit than is due or deserved for all of this. It's big coach. You find, like people will talk about how brilliant their game plan is and their scheme and, their system and all of those things. In the end, it matters whether or not you have good players. And I think we've gotten to a day and age, especially in the NFL.
Yes.
Where coaches have so much influence over the media, and because we all feel like we want to understand the game more as fans and we want to immerse ourselves in things, that we focus on the coaching side of things too much and we give these guys way too much credit. This has been proven time and time again, and it has been proven in the greatest example of them all that Tom Brady was more important to the Patriots' success than Bill Belichick. So let's stop acting like coaches have that much of an impact. I think coaches have more of an impact on culture, on, which I give Mike Vrabel a ton of credit for. You need to change the culture. You need to put your team in a position to win, but it's never see that play that guy drew up. In the end, it's more about the player than the play.
So I'm going to guess you didn't love the Seth Wickersham, Sean Payton 7 billion word story and Sean Payton going through every play that ever happened to come up with one little minute change. You're not a big believer in that.
No, because I would also say Sean Payton made a terrible field goal or go for it decision that cost them the AFC Championship game. So what does he need? A 7 billion page article defending his genius and laying out and proving his genius. See, that's what these coaches do. It's always Matt Patricia claims he has one of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history. Which we can poke fun at Matt Patricia and say you're an a-hole. I think that thought process permeates the coaching culture. I think they think they're way more important than they actually are. I hate big coach.
And certainly any of them that have ties to Bill Belichick absolutely think they're more important than they are. I believe that they have always, and Bill has been at the forefront of this, made the game sound more difficult than it is. I'm always refreshed by the coach that says, there's only so many plays. There's only so many defenses. Really, we got to go out there and the players got to play. Like
Didn't
those
Jude
types
Bellingham
of coaches.
basically say that?
Yes.
I mean, talk about like, oh yeah, well, he's never been out there. What's it like?
Well, maybe he doesn't know what it's like to play in those kind of conditions against Erling Haaland.
Didn't he go on to basically say like, yeah, he wants us to like do this type of passing, and we're just not going to do that.
We've tried to create a positive environment. We should continue that going into the Final Four. I can't speak highly enough for the lads. You're not going to win every game popping the ball and making 1,000 passes. Sometimes you have to win dirty, and we've done that again tonight.
Yeah, the 1,000 passes, that's the coach saying, do this, do this, do this, XO, drop this brilliant play. No, Bellingham's like, yeah, I'm one of the best players in the world, and I'm surrounded by some of the best players in the world. We're going to kick the ball into the net.
You can't win every single basketball game shooting 63. Sometimes you gotta go to the paint.
What are you, on the Jaylen Brown side? We're not allowed to talk about Jaylen Brown. But
it's on Mount Shushmore, but if I were to be driving by Mount Shushmore, I'd say, hey, Jude Bellingham, Jaylen Brown, kind of sharing a mind here.
Same.
I need to ask you about the Belichick reporting this week with Sean Payton. We've not gotten into that. You want to talk about that Payton story? That's the takeaway from that.
From our perspective, absolutely.
Not that he's some massive genius who is found a way to find the perfect play and draw up the perfect. I mean, it's like Henry Winkler in The Waterboy breaking out that that playbook there. I mean, they're just not that. It's that he wanted to hand over his own team to a friend just because that's the way the NFL is. It's just nothing but cronyism.
Well, and this is a classic. I mean, it struck everyone. That was the immediate takeaway. It was making the rounds on social media like the second the story was posted. And my first reaction was, it's such a classic Bill Parcells move. And both of these guys, their mentor is Bill Parcells. Remember the years of Parcells and going from team to team, and we lived it firsthand here with the crap that he was just going to be a consultant with the Jets, and Bill Belichick was actually the head coach, and then he's not the head. They played games. They feel like everybody's just playing in their game, right? Everybody else is just pawns in their world. Also think just how embarrassing would that be for Belichick? Like, you're kind of having to be handed a record. I'd like to think, had this come to any type of talking, he would have said, Sean, appreciate the idea, but no thanks.
I don't think that's the way it would have played out. Let's get into this on the other side. 97, a little more than 90 seconds. Maybe like 90 times 2. Do a break. Get Andy Hart's thoughts on these stories and more with you at 617-779-0985.
Boston's home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
For the best deal on any name brand tire, get to Town Fair Tire.
I'm not saying the House of Blues is this massive, you're selling out of here, but
that's like 5,000.
You're
isn't
a
it?
traveling professional.
4,000.
4,000. Yeah.
You're a professional musician with a following that's doing a show in the city of Boston at a nice venue. Whatever. And I've never heard of any of them. There's hundreds and thousands of acts out there that have never even stepped into my big old cranium.
And you know what? It's as a fan of rock music, because I think people of Andy's mindset, they love the country music. They love,
what you mean by
pop country music. Just, just listen to it and enjoy it. I'm not begrudging you, but I think for someone like me who's a rock fan, I got to work a little harder to find acts that I like. So, yeah, we're not at Fenway Park with Noah Khan. You're not going to find us there. You're going to find us at the House of Blues with some of these smaller acts that are quality acts. Again, like everybody I saw, South Arcade, Chase Petra, Winona Fighter, Ring Pop, Games We Play. It was a bunch of shows. And I had not heard of half of these acts either.
Or you could just make them up and I would just nod and smile.
No, those are all real, and they performed well, and I want to commend them for being great performers and great musicians. But I went into a show just to see South Arcade. They ended up playing second to last, so I'm going to watch all these other acts. And now there's like 4 or 5 bands that I had never heard of that I am now fans of.
It is the equivalent of like NFL draft talk, like when Alex Barth comes in and names all these guys. I'm like, you're making it up. There's no
edge out of Southwest Louisiana State,
right? Or you and Paul getting together to talk about roster bubble guys. After the first preseason game,
it happens.
Yeah, and guys, you're lying. You're making it up. These names are made up, and nobody's going to know the difference. But that is what I would define as a music guy. Like I say, Garvin's a music guy. We all like music. If you don't like music, that's a big time red flag. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Everybody likes music to a certain extent.
I agree.
But how do we define music person, like a music guy?
I think that less mainstream, has to put a little more. He's right.
But
easy.
He's in it for the love of the game, right? I'm going to go out on a Tuesday night. I want to see one band that that most people really wouldn't know about.
Right.
I really like them, but I'm here for the 5 bands with them. That is for the love of the game stuff.
Correct.
Good for you, man.
And there's effort.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The music doesn't come to him. He has to.
I gotta
seek
go
out.
find it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. For me, it's very easy to find my country music and there'll be specials on TV and award shows and they'll all be performing and it's easy.
Commercially successful. It's commercially popular.
That's where he just jumped the shark though.
Yeah,
now he's being snobby.
I'm not being snobby.
You just like the commercialized stuff. You just take what they shove down your throat. You should know better.
I'm not saying that you specifically, Andy, like what's commercial and popular.
You might not be saying it. I'm saying it.
That's just it. Is you can just be anywhere watching, TV or, whatever. And you're going to find this stuff because it's like half the new Bruno Mars song. I don't even know what it's called with the French lady singing. I hear that thing everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It's not for me. If you like it, that's great. I'm not going to sit and shame you because I think music taste is totally subjective. But yeah, if I want to go find something that really makes me feel something when I listen to it, I got to work a little bit harder for it.
So, Ryan answers to a higher calling.
Apparently.
And you don't, Andy.
I do not.
I mean, it's
Simpleton.
really it's hard for you and your small brain to comprehend is what Garvin is saying.
That's kind of what he said.
I feel like he's just
belittling me,
taking you not remembering him from 10 years ago, and he's just pouring all.
I'm just holding that against you.
I'm going to remember this show.
I would never shame anybody for their music taste. I wouldn't.
Well, because music.
Oh, I would.
Really?
I would. Yeah.
I don't, because I think music should be as simple as you hear it, you like it. You hear it, you don't like it. I don't need to know the set list and the lyrics and the this and the that. And no. It's like that idea, I don't need to know how the sausage is made. Mm-hmm. It comes through some form of speaker. I hear it. Does it make me feel good? Maybe makes me feel sad. Maybe makes me think. Whatever. Okay, let's move on. I like it.
And there's something we were talking about soccer, and you're with people around you, and you're getting excited because they're getting excited. And I had a lot of that too, where I'm like, I don't know these groups, but everybody around me. The opening act, Ring Pop, a local band, had a massive following standing right next to me. And their music was good, but then there was like real enthusiasm for these guys, and I'm like, you know what? I'm invested. I want to have fun. That's what it is. I want to have fun too. Everybody's excited. I want to be excited too. What are we getting excited about?
I think it's really easy to like things that people like.
Yeah.
Because that is infectious. I'm totally with you, which is one of the reasons the World Cup is such a great event. Like, you might not care one bit about soccer, but if you were hanging out in Boston when the Scots were here, it's like, I can't wait to watch this Scotland-Haiti game. Like, this will be cool. This will be fun.
And when they were taking over Fenway with the rowing, are you going to be the one dink in like the 50-person section that's not rowing?
This is stupid.
Just row.
Now.
Grab a beer and row.
I did see an interview with a guy, maybe he was on the BBC, whatever. It was a Norwegian fan. He was photographed as the one fan not rowing.
Yeah, you don't want to be
And
that
they
guy.
interviewed him. He's like, Vikings didn't row. We sailed. And
There's always one guy in the group.
He gave us all the, and sometimes I am that guy.
Are you like the one guy not singing Sweet Caroline?
Yes, I am the one guy not singing Sweet Caroline.
I don't think that's the same thing necessarily.
Well, yeah, because I feel like that we're more like affected as long-suffering, I shouldn't say long-suffering, but suffering Red Sox fans.
Don't use
in
the term
recent years.
suffering around Thomas Tuchel there.
Oh, no, I didn't.
I never said suffering. What are you talking about? I don't know why you wrote it in your notebook. I never said it. That guy. Seems like a laugh a minute.
Pain, suffering.
We made life. I never talked about suffering.
I never talked about suffering.
Chris in Newton says Red Sox fans are not suffering in any way. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how are you guys? Great show, McCarthy, as always.
Thanks.
Listen, I'm
Give
driving
Hart some
back
credit
from the
for that
stadium.
too, by the way. Unbelievable.
I noticed that. It's a one-man show. Can I leave early?
So I'm driving back from Citi Field, so I got a bunch of time, so I figured I'd call you guys. But I got to tell you, tickets were cheap, and that's great, and it was really fun to, like, bike over to the place, and it was cool. But they're apathetic. Like, the fans are not – they're not lively. They're not pushing back. Like, the Red Sox fans are the most lively people in the place. And it's like, well, maybe if they were winning, it's like, no, they were not into it, and they've become apathetic. And when I saw that in person, I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah, Chris, I think you're missing the point on that. The Mets suck.
Yeah.
And are Red Sox fans more lively in New York this weekend than Mets fans? Yeah, they probably are, for a couple of factors. One, they're playing better baseball, and, I mean, there's nothing for Mets fans to feel good about. And two, I think when you travel for sports, which is a great way to travel and see the country and go to... It's just fun. I mean, it's exactly what we're seeing with the World Cup. People are here. They're here for the good time. The Scots, the Norwegians, whoever. It's like they come, they're experiencing a different city. They're here for the game. When you go somewhere for a game, you're in a way better mood anyway because it's all a part of the experience. The same thing happens here at Fenway Park, by the way, so don't say Mets fans are apathetic, because when the Seven Line Army comes here and takes over Fenway, what do we spend a weekend talking about? How much Red Sox fans suck and how good Mets fans are. You know why? Because they decided to travel up to Boston, they're spending the weekend, they're doing the Freedom Trail, they're going to the Dubliner, they're getting drunk, they're showing up at Fenway Park because it's a part of the party.
Right.
It's a completely different thing. I think it's a generalization.
When you travel, you're seeking a good time. So you're like, you're already 1 foot towards it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not a fair.
You have a favorite sports place to travel to, sports city to travel to? Have you done much of it?
I mean, most of it came with the Patriots.
With work, yeah.
When
so
we
it's
were
a different story.
Traveling with the Patriots. I do just like the vibe of Seattle. And some of it is the Seahawks Stadium, I think is one of the best.
Yeah.
And then I've seen some of these things where they've embraced soccer and whatever their thing is that marches through the city to the games. And
love a good march.
Yeah. And anytime there's a group that passionate, you get caught up in it.
Yeah.
You want to get dragged into it. I'm trying to think of other places I enjoy. Like one of my favorite trips early on when I was younger, back when you really bitched about how hard it was to get Red Sox tickets and it was expensive, is the trip to Baltimore for Camden Yards to see
Fenway
the Red Sox
South.
play. Yeah, absolutely. You can get a hotel room, club seats, and enjoy it for the same price you would have had to do for parking and tickets at Fenway. So that's a nice road trip. But also I've always wanted to do, and I've never done, now on the bucket list, now that I'm, not really tied to NFL games and weekends, I need to do a major college football game where like travel and tailgate and wherever it is, just taken. That's the one environment that I think is missing on my sports bucket list of that nature.
That's increasingly a higher spot on my bucket list too. I knocked the World Cup off this time. That was great. That was awesome. But traveling for sports is the best. Pittsburgh Pittsburgh is a great sports destination city. Stadium's downtown. It's walkable. Sneaky good city. Love Pittsburgh. But, I mean, the ballpark, whether you're going for a Pirates game or a Steelers game, whatever that may be, and they shut down the bridges, you can just walk from downtown across the bridges. I mean, just a tremendous sports setup there. That has to be a great sports destination city. Can't recommend it enough.
I'd like to go there because they have the bridge you walk over, right, to the ballpark. Because
awesome.
I've never been to I've been to Heinz Field a number of times.
The ballpark is it's something out of a painting, dude. It's awesome. Can't recommend it.
Put that on the list. A sneaky one I told Hardy the other day. I went to my first golf tournament, the Travelers, a couple weekends ago.
Great time. Golf tournaments are awesome. It's like a carnival. It's
way more fun than I expected.
Choose your own adventure.
I went in with sort of no expectations, limited expectations, whatever you want to say, and it was really enjoyable. And we did the follow a crappy pairing. Then we followed Scheffler and like had fun on both ends of it in different ways.
Yeah.
It was good. Now, I was fortunate I had seats in one of the little tents by the 17th and that whole thing, so that free beer and food.
Fancy Andy over here.
Yeah, I got friends. You got peeps that look out for you.
You always need friends.
You need friends. You want different types of guys, and a guy that has access to golf tournament VIP seating is a good guy to have.
That's a good. You want a boat guy. You want. You never want to own the boat.
I own the boat, unfortunately, but fortunately too.
I don't know a guy who owns a boat. I found my boat friend.
Yeah, you're that guy I did a show with 10 years ago.
That's right. You haven't invited me on your boat, you a-hole.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll make it happen. I meant to ask, we will get to the Belichick, Sean Payton story. I see on the phone lines. We'll take care of you. We'll continue. I know they probably told you about the clock here when you arrived, and they said...
Kinda.
Yeah, that we don't do that on the weekends.
And there's two different clocks and all... I'm kind of scrambling here.
There's the third, clock, the weekend clock, where it's we need to break right now. We're going to do that now.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
And 779-0985. Didn't pay off the tease in the last segment, so I got to do it now, Andy.
That's a terrible job as a host.
Bad radio host.
I've been criticized for that.
Bad radio host over here. That's for sure.
You're talking about you, not me, right?
Yeah, no, correct.
Oh, okay.
The standards are...
I wasn't sure there. In light of recent events, I wasn't sure exactly what you were referring to.
Well, I mean, the standards aren't much higher here, Andy. I would certainly say they've let me do this for 13 years, so obviously they're not listening too much or paying that much attention to what's going on. That's for sure. You think that Bill Belichick would not have taken Sean Payton up on that offer to come coach the Broncos just until Bill got his little record, huh?
I think as I phrased it, and I won't go back and check the tape. I'm not even sure there is tape.
We burned it. Don't worry.
I'd like to think. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. The Bill Belichick I've seen as his career and his reputation have petered out over the last 3 or 4 years, I'd like to think he would politely decline his friend sort of offering up his team as just a tool for him to collect the 15 wins or whatever. I'd like to think he would decline that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The record, the ego run amok, the need for validation post Tom Brady and Robert Kraft, he may take it. He may take the opportunity, which I think would be counterintuitive, whatever you want. It would be sad. It would be very sad to see him, like point chasing, record chasing, whatever you want to call it, or these things where, you need the triple-double and you're in the game late to get a rebound, or you give yourself a me-bound to grab it.
Bam Adebayo, 83 points, all that.
Cheap.
Yeah, it would be sad. Sadder than coaching the University of North Carolina?
Yes. Actually, yes.
Yeah, somehow, some way sadder than that?
Now, maybe
having your
not
life
sadder,
being run by a 24-year-old girl. What?
Not sadder than that. No, not sadder than that. And also maybe not sadder than the results at UNC. Had he gone to UNC and done what he said he was going to do and make them the 33rd team and NFL team, and we're going to get NFL-ready players and won games, had he had like a 2 or a 3, hell, college football, you turn it around immediately now, right?
Yeah.
What's his name at Indiana goes there and boom, their national title. Signetti
right?
takes Indiana in 1 year in they're good, 2 year in their national championship kind of thing. Had Bill done that, that's not sad. That's actually an interesting story, end of his career, whatever you want to call it.
Instead, he's losing to the Christian Horny Frogs in week 1. That's never a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
For
this has been
NFL,
sad.
No, the whole thing's been sad. But he 1,000% would have taken that Denver gig.
You think so?
Oh, my God. You mentioned Bill needing validation after Brady and Kraft. He wanted the record so badly. The entire NFL basically shuns him. The man has stooped to the level of coaching the University of North Carolina because he just can't help himself.
Yeah.
He 1,000% would want to do it at the NFL level. And it's just so him, too. It's so him. Somebody who preached TEAM, team, very famously after, the Bledsoe Brady decision, we will do what's best for the team, and then made so many decisions that were not best for the team because they were best for Bill, they were best for himself. I don't know, losing a Super Bowl over a personal grudge with Malcolm Butler, installing Matt Patricia and Joe Judge as his offensive coordinators in 2022 because those were his guys, those were his relationships. Yeah, Bill absolutely would have done it. And Sean Payton would have done it too. He 1,000% would have done it because there's nothing more important as an NFL coach than just taking care of your friends and your buddies. It's the way it works around the league. If somebody has a kid who wants to get into coaching, wants to, get a job in the front office, you give that kid a job. Does not matter whether he's qualified or not. If Matt Patricia is out of work, if Joe Judge is out of work, you bring them back to be an offensive coordinator. And if you're Sean Payton, you're even willing to stoop to the level of giving your team over to somebody else just because he's your friend and you have shared trauma from the Bill Parcells era.
Which I think is crazy.
It's insane, by the way. Can we talk about what a moron Sean Payton is for even thinking this or wanting this? Would that have worked out? Like, Bill comes in and he's successful. You think Bill's going to give the team back to you? No. And if it doesn't work out, you think the owner is going to say, oh, we're going to fire Bill, but we're going to keep you too? Right. No. What a moron. What an idiot.
That was my first reaction is there's almost no way for this to work.
Yeah.
For you, Sean Payton, and for the team. Like, it might work for Bill. Maybe he catches lightning in a bottle and gets the wins in a year and a half, whatever. Okay, so then, I want him to keep coaching. That's what's working. And it was a very weird and the fact that he even thought of it, I don't know. It was very this is going to be a weird comparison, very wife swappy.
You think?
Kind of thinking of something that is very weird.
Can we say the cuck chair? I think we can.
Yes.
I think we can say that.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if we can. You just did.
Well, I did.
That's Matt McCarthy.
I did. I don't think I'm the first one who said it on these airwaves.
Okay.
So somebody else has already said it. I can say it too. That's my attitude. I always let somebody else say it first. Yeah. Not a great situation.
No.
Not what you're looking for. And, it's it was too complicated and it didn't work out. No kidding, it didn't work out. Who's the owner of the Denver Broncos? Walmart man?
Yeah, Walmart.
If I'm Walmart man, if I'm Sam Walmart, whatever that guy's name is, you come to me and you say, all right, Mr. Walmart, we're going to bring in Bill Belichick. He's going to take over the team. He's going to get 15 wins. Then we're going to just hand the team back over to me.
Right.
I'm sorry, who's paying for this again?
Right.
Who's paying for Bill? So I'm going to take it out of your salary. No.
Walton Penner Family Ownership Group.
I'm not going to take it out. I'm not going to
Penner.
take it out of your salary. You want me to pay for this? No. By the way, you don't own the team. I own the team. So that's not going to happen. Also, how are we going to explain this to the team? I mean, what could be more like coach speak than hey, we're going to, day one, we're going to come in here, we're going to put, it's football, faith, and family. We're going to put, we're a family here, and we're going to, put everybody, we're not going to put the individual before the team. By the way, here's your coach. I'm not coaching the team. He's your new coach until he gets 15 wins, and then I'm going to be your coach. All right, everybody, team on three. 1, 2, 3, team. What a dumbass situation that is.
Right.
You got to be kidding.
In a culture that is built around team first and everybody doing their job and well, who's doing what job, and is this in the best interest of the team or is this in the best interest of you guys?
No, it's a farce.
He gets a record and you get to be some magnanimous team player buddy from the Parcellian tree and we all protect each other.
Yeah.
It's like working with the mob or something. It's something very weird. You're a made man, so now you're you're a made man.
So it's we look after you ahead of the team because that situation wouldn't have worked out too. You're just sowing dysfunction. And I get it. Great defensive mind head coach, offensive mind Sean Payton, combined powers. Yeah. like not in reality.
Right.
That doesn't work in reality.
Right.
It works if you're building a Madden franchise back in the. Can you still do that? Like pick off coaches and offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. I remember that in GameCube in 2003. Doesn't work in reality. That's for sure.
And yeah, the only thing I think that's dumber than the idea is putting it in a story on ESPN. Like, say you had this idea. Isn't this one of those you kind of keep to yourself?
You keep to yourself. Like,
maybe you even run it by a close friend or your wife or somebody who then tells you it's a dumb idea and you go, okay, all right, I didn't look at it the way you're telling me to look at it now. But to go tell Seth Wickersham so that he can put it in a story that's going to be read by every NFL personnel guy, executive, coach, fan, and it's a very strange situation.
But actually, if we think about Big Coach, right? The coaches using the industry and the media to make themselves look better and look like they're so responsible for winning and like what a great guy. That is a Sean Payton puff piece, right?
Oh yeah.
We're gonna let you in, we're gonna and honestly the access is incredible and it's super interesting, right? Bill Belichick, A Football Life. The access is amazing. You love that stuff. But the whole piece is designed with the idea of we're going to make Sean Payton look really good. And you know what Sean Payton is thinking about this? He thinks that's going to make him look good. In his warped mind, the warped enough mind that came up with this idea in the first place, he says, you know what, if I put that out there, it's going to look like, oh, I care about winning because I'm going to bring in Bill and we're going to combine forces, and that's the way people are going to look at it. Because there were some fans who were like, can you imagine Bill Belichick and Sean Payton on the same coaching staff? That's a coaching super team. That's what Peyton's thinking. He's like, this is going to make me look good. Like, I care about the results and I care about, strong relationships and being a good person and taking care of Bill when he's down. And we're going to combine forces and we're going to do great things. Yeah. In your dreams, you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Why not make him the defensive coordinator?
Oh, well, because Bill wouldn't do that.
Well, I got to push back a little bit on the idea that, Bill would go along with this, because I think ultimately the thing that Bill has proven is the most important to him is institutional control. Mm-hmm. You're not getting institutional control unless it's a coup. All of a sudden, Vance Joseph's trying to open the door and the key card doesn't work, and he looks around the corner and there's stupid Matt Patricia sitting in his office, farting in his office chair. That's why I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that, oh yeah, Bill would have done this 100%. I think Sean Payton, again, as you just outlined, McCarthy, that he's just kind of so tone deaf and unaware that he's like, look how great I am. This is such a great idea. And the majority of people are going, this is so stupid. How would it even work? And why would you do this to your organization? I don't know. And look, yeah, Bill is clearly desperate enough to go and coach UNC, but he also gets organizational control. He has control of that entire football program. The whole idea that it wouldn't work out in Atlanta is because the front office told Arthur Blank, hey, this isn't happening. It's either us, you're going to fire us and bring him in, or you're going to keep us and he's not going to be your head coach. That's why he ultimately wasn't going to work in Atlanta, because they weren't going to hand over the keys of the franchise to Bill Belichick. And I don't think there's any situation where they would have done that with the Denver Broncos. So Bill's just going to go in there and be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll, ride sidecar in this situation. That's not his MO. And I remember, Felger and Jim yelling at Barth because Barth was kind of lockstep with me on this. Like, oh, he would totally do that. He would totally do that. I don't know. I don't know that he would. Yes, he's unaware. He thinks he's much, much bigger than the program. But if he never ultimately gets the full control of the Denver Broncos, what is he really getting out of it?
Right. And his first move might be to fire Sean Payton so he has full control.
Yeah.
I'm the head coach now, right?
Right.
Did we sign that? Has that been, that official? Yeah. Like, am I officially the head?
Gone,
Sean,
sealed.
You're out.
There's a million reasons it wouldn't work, but ultimately it's not exactly what Bill Belichick wants. And that's what stopped him from pushing the Falcons job. I think it's ultimately what stopped him from getting a job in any organization was, you're not getting Bill Belichick, the coach, or Bill Belichick, even the defensive coordinator. You're getting the general manager, the coach, the overbearing personality that is going to take control away from ownership and the front office. And that is not how football is really being run anymore. Bill was kind of like the last guy to do that. And I don't think there's any chance in hell that the Denver Broncos would be like, oh yeah, sure, It's whatever you want to do. We heard you're so great with young quarterbacks. Let's introduce you to Bo Nix so you can scare this kid too.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's one thing that's worked out very well for Bill Belichick, it's wanting to, hold on to all this power. I mean, that's how you end up at a place like the University of North Carolina with Mike Lombardi as your general manager.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
worked
chance.
out. That worked out great. Yeah,
for now.
Well, I mean, always have a fall guy, right?
But I'm not sure we'll be talking about him still being at UNC after this season. Doesn't this have to be his last year?
I would think so.
Yeah,
I think they can.
They
should have moved on from that.
We were talking about him getting fired
past.
halfway through last season.
Oh, absolutely. And it should have been a consideration. But, to save face, you give him another chance. Well, we gave him a chance. We gave him a full opportunity to really, because he was big. He was talking up, my second year in New England, we won the Super Bowl, and it takes a time to put the plan in and the foundation and all that time you get in college football in the NIL era, like all that time to build a roster slowly and recruit. But yeah, I got to think this is the final year in the Bill Belichick experience at UNC.
Something tells me we'll be talking a little bit less about Bill this year than we were last year.
Yeah.
I will say that story pretty much died like almost right away. It's like, oh wow, no, they really suck.
Oh yeah.
And then what more do you say about that? You get a few weeks out of it, and it's like, well, why even talk about it? The man's borderline irrelevant at this point.
I haven't checked to see how many nationally broadcasted games that UNC is going to have this year. I can't imagine it.
Well, I mean, you can always flex some games late, can't you? Yeah, just hope for those flex games. We'll continue. Good opportunity to hop on the phone lines right now. I've seen you. Well, you've been waiting patiently. I'll take care of you. Andy will take care of you too.
Always. Although some people don't even know I'm here. That one guy was like, Matt, you're doing a great job. Great show as always. Some other guy keeps talking.
I mean, hey, listen, you want to do the final 40 minutes to prove that you're still here? Have at it, my friend.
Nope.
All right, we'll continue. Matt McCarthy and Andy Hart here on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sport.
Are you still hot on Jaylen Brown? Where do you stand?
I'm not as hot because I feel like we've kind of exacerbated the information at hand. The initial shock, the analytics, the money. Then you had the report start, sort of the hit piece from The Athletic, if you want to call it that. It was a weak hit piece, but it was a little bit of a hit piece.
Yeah, that's no Red Sox style hit piece, that's for sure.
No. They tiptoed into it, dipped their toe in the water. And then you even had the reports from Shams, Tim McMahon, the relationship stuff. It deteriorated. It was non-existent with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown at the end. And now you're kind of like, well, it's kind of played itself out. Now you just kind of wait. Like now our next opportunity is when we start hyping up, I guess when we're getting closer to the season, but then certainly when we find out, when they're playing, start to hype a game. I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. As a Jaylen Brown guy, and I've said this a number of times already on these airwaves, not so much the offense you'll get from him. I really want to see Jaylen Brown defend Jason Tatum, get physical, do the Luka, pick him up at like half court, getting his mug, hand down, man down kind of stuff, and see where that goes. But right now, I feel like we've kind of exhausted all the discussion.
I would agree. So I have a take to move it forward.
Okay.
I want to look back.
We are not exhausted. We shall prove it now.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about how it went down. I don't want to talk about who hates who, why they made the decision, money, you name it. Ownership, you name it. And by the way, news coming out on Whit Grossbeck this morning that I want to get to in a little bit as well. Looking back on the Brown-Tatum era, if you could sum it up in a word or two, how would you describe their era?
Unfulfilling.
That's a good way to describe it.
I mean, they obviously got the one championship, which led to what they're going to say now, and they proved themselves. But I mean, you bring up Wick, promising multiple titles, those two guys as pillars, decades, all of this. And I think in the end, there's no other way to describe it as unfulfilling. And especially when it peters out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you pulled the plug on it. You didn't have to. You could have continued this to seek a second title, which obviously we know in all sports changes the perception of everything and everyone. Individuals get a second ring, that changes you. Teams get second. Now you're talking about a run or an error. You're a one-off. And I know everybody in the NBA is a one-off.
Right now it is.
That's the world we're in, is one-off NBA titles.
But that almost makes it even more disappointing. It's like, it's not like you were going up against a dynasty. You should have been that team, and that really was the promise of the era. Their ceiling was much higher than one championship. And even that one championship will always be mentioned. Well, yeah, your run was really pretty easy to it. You had a stacked roster, and the second a new owner came in, the second Irv Grossbeck found out what Wick was spending on the team and decided to sell the team, everything crumbled down because Brown and Tatum weren't able to carry it forward, and they weren't able to fulfill their promise. So I'll take it one step further. I think in the context of recent Boston sports memory and history, the Brown-Tatum era Celtics have to be the most underachieving, unfulfilling, however you want to describe it, group that we've seen in quite some time. Did the Bruins underachieve? Probably a little bit with Chara and Bergeron and Rask, and they should have won in 2019. I don't feel that group even had the promise of the Brown-Tatum group. Like, the Brown-Tatum group should have been the team of the era in the NBA. The Bruins came up in an era with the Blackhawks, and then they ended up in the era of the Florida teams and the Panthers and the Lightning. Like, you can make the argument the Bruins never were the best team in hockey during that time. They should have won in 2019. That's a massive choke. It's a massive, but they lost in 2013 to a better team. I don't know. They were who they were. Mm-hmm. I can accept that a little bit more. There's something about the Brown-Tatum era that I just can't accept as a Celtics fan. It was supposed to be so much better than it was. And maybe it's the way they lost when they lost. They kept losing to inferior competition. Vastly inferior. The Bruins did that once on home ice in 2019, and we'll never forgive them for that. But the Celtics did it over and over and over and over again. I really do think they're the biggest group of underachievers in recent Boston sports memory.
And then, in a way, I kind of marry it up with the Red Sox and their stars when you had Mookie Betts and you had Devers and you had Bogarts and like Tatum and Brown and we're kind of chugging along here as Boston, baby. And that obviously petered out in its own unique way with those stars and how all those things aligned in the wrong direction. And then, so now we're left with, but there's worse things than to be left with two, all NBA caliber, all-star, Hall of Fame players. And you're right. It led to one title that some people will question. Some people will always, I don't know if it's asterisk worthy, but
the banners fly forever.
You can kind of diminish it if you choose to. If you're on the other side of the argument, you can diminish it.
It's not the most impressive championship we've seen in Boston. Let's put it that way. And it's towards the bottom of the list.
And then there's also just the fact that whichever side you're on or however, you had two stars, and I still feel this, and some will push back from both. Neither was embraced by the city in the way that you would have thought they'd be embraced by the city. I don't think Tatum is beloved the way you'd think he'd be beloved. He's anointed.
Yep.
And the team has given him a certain pedestal that he stands on. But I don't feel the passionate love for Jason Tatum that I feel like if you put his numbers out there and then his accomplishments, you would normally expect.
Is he Paul Pierce? I don't think so.
No,
definitely.
And I don't even think he's I think people loved KG in a different way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
In a much shorter window.
Shorter time span, but I would agree. I mean, if I'm ranking Celtics of my lifetime, I mean, it's Pierce and Garnett.
Yeah.
Before I get to the Brown-Tatum group.
And I don't know why neither guy or even the tandem. They could have owned the town as a tandem, probably.
They could have. Well, it's because they underachieved.
But also because of their weird relationship. There was no obvious overt chemistry between them. It's almost like that limited the chemistry with the city, the fan base, the team.
And I do think some Celtics fans, kind of tried to, not to say force it on us. I mean, I think they believed that they were better than they actually were. And maybe that, I guess, because I do the job that I do, I hear from a lot of people who, in my opinion, have overrated Brown and have overrated Tatum. I mean, certainly you consider their accomplishments. I mean, they certainly accomplished a lot together, but by our standards in Boston and even, by certainly standards in Celtics history, and even just comparing them to the Pierce Garnett era, they had way more cracks at it too. And they never quite got there. And I don't know. I'm just thinking across all Boston sports in my lifetime and maybe beyond. It's hard to think of a group that frankly, underachieved more than them because they were a generation of Boston Celtics basketball.
Yep.
This was not I guess you could say like the Brady, Moss, Welker era Patriots underachieved, and they did. They didn't win a championship, but like that was such a small period of time. Like Patriots were a 20-year run where they won 6 titles. Like,
right.
Yeah, there's going to be a few down years in there by their standards where, yes, they should have won in 2007. Moss gets shipped out of here in 2010. I mean, but is that a true? That was not a generation of Patriots football. I don't know. I just like I'm trying to find another one, and I just don't think I can.
So I'm going to jump to a different sport, very different sport, but like Braves fans with Smoltz and Maddox and like that pitching staff.
Yep.
Underwhelming, underfulfilling, never like that should be, or even to some degree the A's and Moneyball and that pitching staff, right? Like just leaves you wanting more. And like the perception of what they are, and then you get down in the details and you're like, yeah, they didn't really maximize those guys, that team, that era the way you would have thought.
I'd say it's maybe even a little bit of a step down from those Braves teams of the 90s, which again, only won one championship. Maddox is way better than Tatum.
Oh, absolutely.
Smoltz is way better than Jaylen Brown. You know, so which maybe makes them an even bigger disappointment.
Right.
But yeah, it is a little bit of that, like you win one championship, but you thought there should have been more.
This feels like a book. Not going to lie to you.
Yeah, no,
this feels like a book to be written, like why Tatum and Brown didn't succeed as much as it should have, both on the court and off the court. Like why that? Because in theory, like if you're just in a chemistry class and you put together this and you put together
this should work.
This is going to be awesome.
And it just wasn't, which, by the way, was why I was totally on board and have been really going back to the Sixers series with breaking them up. I hate what they got in return. Hate what they got in return. So, I mean, I guess if you give me that context, should you have really broken them up? But at my core, I look at them and say, enough is enough. How many times are you going to lose to the Sixers and the Knicks and the 8-seeded Heat? Like, you're just going to keep doing this over and over and over again. And I'm sorry, it's not just because the coach sucks. And yes, the coach sucks, but like Brown and Tatum are the nucleus of the whole thing. Like I can't excuse all of it. I can excuse one away. I can excuse 2 away. When we get to 3 out of 4, 3 out of the last 4 years, they have lost to vastly inferior competition in the playoffs. Generally at home, generally with series leads, or you're blowing 20-point leads at home in games 1 and game 2 and losing that series, or falling behind the Heat 3-0, again, that started at home, to an 8 seed, or blowing a 3-1 series lead at home in game 5 and game 7. Like, at what point do I say enough is enough? And that's where I reach as a Celtics fan. Like, they're never going to do it. And I just look back on it and say, yeah, that's kind of who they were. They were a team that never really was going to fulfill what they were capable of.
And not in such a passionate talk radio way as you just did. Didn't Brad Stevens tell us that? He said, I see the path moving forward similar to the path we've had the last couple of years, which is early playoff exits, underachieving, losing to teams you probably feel like you shouldn't lose to. And that's what he's saying. Like, this isn't as good as it's supposed to be. This isn't as productive as it's supposed to be. So he ripped the Band-Aid off.
Yep.
Right or wrong. And he wasn't even willing to say it's right. I believe at the end, near the end of that press conference, he said, I'm not even telling you it's the right decision.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even, I think he started by saying, we're not up here to defend ourselves.
Right.
But he ripped the Band-Aid off for that thinking. This isn't producing what it's supposed to produce. The path looks the same. What's going to change? Insanity. You know, how can I expect this to change if I just keep rolling the same tandem out there as the centerpiece of this team?
I think it's really easy for us to ignore this factor in all of it, Andy, and this is kind of what I've been pounding the table on for the last week. Yes, there's a money factor. It's probably the number one factor. New ownership. It's massive. Yes, Brown and Tatum don't get along, you know, and that's a factor too. But you can't ignore the basketball component of this as well. And the basketball component is they keep underachieving. And if you bring the money into play, if you bring, you know, the relationships into play, how exactly are we expecting this to get better?
Right.
My answer was it wasn't. Now, bringing Paul George and 2 first-round picks in probably doesn't help the situation either, but let's just not ignore that. So, question for you all, 617-779-0985. Biggest underachieving era in Boston sports. I think it might be this one. Maybe I'm missing something. This thought is kind of coming to me over the last few days as I'm kind of looking back and reflecting on the era. Are they the biggest underachievers in Boston sports?
It feels like of the modern time that I'm thinking. I mean, some people paint the second big three, the Garnett, Pierce, Allen group as underachieving, as disappointing.
Jimmy Stewart feels very strongly that Pierce and Garnett underachieved. I have a reason why they didn't underachieve as much as this team. Let's get into that on the other side. Look at that.
He's a pro.
That's how you do it, kids. Radio. We'll continue.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Guess that maybe, just maybe, some people would argue that the Pierce-Garnett Celtics actually underachieved more than the Tatum-Brown Celtics.
Yeah.
Here's why they didn't. The way the Pierce-Garnett Celtics teams lost is more defensible than the way the Brown-Tatum era Celtics lost. 2009, Garnett gets hurt. I'm still convinced Garnett is coming back and they're going to win the championship. It's been close to 20 years. I'm still waiting for that to happen. But they were such a wagon, it's easy to see them having won that year. Okay, fine. 2010, they go to Game 7 against a Lakers team that was in the championship in the finals against them the year before, 2 years before. I think the Lakers won in 2009. They went back-to-back, right?
Yeah, so the Magic who beat you.
Right. That was an experienced, Lakers team with an all-time player in Kobe Bryant. I guess you could make the argument if Perk doesn't get hurt, they win Game 7. I'm not going to go that far, but they went to 7 games in the NBA Final and lost a heartbreaker against a team that was, on their par, very close to it. 2012, LeBron James comes in here in Game 6. You have an opportunity to close them out. LeBron has the defining moment of his career, which, an all-time player comes into the Garden, sets his career on a new trajectory, beats you, has an all-time game against you. You lose Game 7 in a heartbreaker, and that's that. And they never really recovered from that. I mean, that was their last chance, and it was what it was. Those are far more defensible losses than, you lost to the 8-seeded Heat after falling behind 3-0 in the series. You lost to the Knicks after blowing 2 back-to-back 20-point leads at home in Game 1 and Game 2 a year after winning the championship. You lost to the Sixers in the first round after being up 3-1. You did that at home, and then the Sixers got immediately dog-walked by the Knicks, a week later. So those losses are I can't defend those losses. I can at least make an argument to defend the Pierce-Garnett shortcomings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think those are all fair arguments. I also think because of the decade that we saw with Tatum and Brown and the different types of attempts of teams around them, right? The different ways they went about the roster construction, and it only worked once. And you can poke holes in that. And then the team that was supposed to be the be-all, end-all, right? They were supposed to motorboat the league, basically.
Right. The Brown-Tatum combo.
Yeah, so, I've been trying to think during the break, and I don't really... I mean, the 07 Patriots, in a singular sense, for what they accomplished in that season, and I do want to remind people... They were a wagon. It's not like that season came out of nowhere. Right. I can remember actually Gil Santos having a conversation with him, the legendary Gil Santos.
Who saw more football than any of us combined.
Like those of us that were down there in August were like, this team could go undefeated. This was an undefeated football team.
The conversation started almost immediately after they, just destroyed the Chargers on Sunday night in week 2. And that Chargers team was supposed to be, they did end up being their closest competition in the AFC. They were in the AFC Championship game. When they boat raced the Chargers on that Sunday night, it's like, oh, this is different, man.
Yeah, they were special.
They were. And then you knew they were special from the jump.
And then similar to the comparisons you're making to Brown and Tatum, You lost to Eli Manning and the Giants, a team that was going to fire its coach in like November, and like you had a gimmicky play that was part of it, and you didn't score. You didn't even lose. You were known for scoring, and you didn't lose a shootout. That might also be like if you lost 45-42, you go, wow, they just kept up. But whatever. Like there are factors in the way that played out that was, but that's only 1 year.
Correct. That's an individual underachievement, a heartbreak, and no doubt. Thank you for reminding me of all of it, Andy. I very much appreciate you taking me back to that very dark place.
Happy Sunday, everybody.
That I'm definitely not over. I will take that game to my grave.
Yep.
But they won 6 championships around that.
Correct.
So, I mean, I guess individually you could say that very small mini era of the Patriots, the Brady, Moss, Welker years, underachieved. Yes, but the Brown and Tatum years it wasn't 2 or 3 years. Those guys have been here for 10 years. Now, different iterations.
Right.
But they've been the one constant throughout it.
So the comparisons I would make that are coming to top of head, exiting Boston now. So forget Boston. Let's maybe say this is the most disappointing, is a guy we just talked about. I think if you're a Saints fan with Drew Brees and Sean Payton, that pairing.
Yep.
Wait, we only won once? We were throwing 5,000 yards a year, and why didn't we win more? And Aaron Rodgers, I would say a similar thing.
Definitely.
The Packers.
Yep.
So there's some of those, and that's where I'm telling you these comparisons, these one-ring people that are out there. Aaron Rodgers is awesome. He's the GOAT. He's the best of all time. How come he's only got one?
Correct.
And
you'll always hold it against him.
That's the world you're now in with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now they're separate, and now you get that Belichick-Brady opportunity. You can kind of go off on your own to change your legacy. That's why some of us think Jaylen Brown might have a chance to win a title this year. I think that team's pretty good. If they add LeBron, I'm not saying they're the favorite, but I think he's got a chance to win a ring.
Something tells me that situation, Philly, is not going to work out. Jaylen Brown wants to be a number one, and they sent him to a place where he's not a number one.
It may not. Or he buffs up his reputation of, how did he phrase it when he said, I give up a lot around here?
No, he sacrifices. Kind of like Thomas Tuchel.
He might be able to go sacrifice in Philly and win a title. And whether it's true or not, because there's a lot of people that think he's a fraud, that's BS, that he wants to be a one, and he wants the whole blah, blah, blah. If he goes there, gets in where he fits in, and they win a title, fraud or not, the story, the perception is he sacrificed and won another title.
Garvin, I know you've got some strong thoughts on this.
Yeah, well, first I'm going to say, if things get kind of weird in Philadelphia, unlike here, we will hear about it, mainly because I don't think Joel Embiid is going to sit there and button his lip if he has any issues whatsoever when it comes to Jaylen Brown. And real quick, I would say, where do you throw They did win a championship, but they fell off a cliff immediately. The 2018 Red Sox, the Mookie Betts Red Sox, get bopped in the divisional to Cleveland and the cheating Astros, and then Alex Cora comes in here. You have a wagon of a team. You buy a pitching staff, and you win like 118 games, and then immediately miss the playoffs the next year and blow it up going into 2020.
Didn't end up being a real era, though. It was kind of a like that Red Sox team was a kind of a moment in time. It was 16, 17, 18, 19 they underachieve, and then Betts is out the door. Ownership completely changes, their whole plans.
And I think that's why it never turned into anything bigger. No,
if you kept the 2018 Red Sox together and Betts and Bogarts and like that whole crew, and then they never won again after winning 108 games. And, they just kind of, they had a series of very disappointing / terrible playoff exits the way the Celtics did. You'd say, okay, well, they never were, that was just like a blip in the radar. I mean, they were just, but I don't even think you can even compare them because of the way that Red Sox era ended. I mean, it was blown up before. Dave Dombrowski was out less than a year after that team.
Thanks for the World Series. You're fired.
You're fired. Bye.
So we were talking off the air as I'm trying to kind of narrow down, like, all right, if we're talking about an underachieving era, what actually is this era? And when I asked you, Matt, initially you were saying it's probably like a 10-year Celtics run. I would say it's closer to 6. And this is the point I'm going to make about the Boston Celtics era that is no more as far as the Jays go. I'm very surprised, after having thought about it, that all the negative, scandalous issues that this organization ran into the last 10 years did not bring Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown closer together.
Interesting.
They get drafted. Jaylen Brown gets booed famously. And by the way, you had to hit 2 draft picks, which doesn't always happen in the NBA, where you hit home runs on your lottery picks. You trade the first pick. Philadelphia loses their mind. The Lakers lose their mind. You have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Okay, here we go. Star players, lottery picks. Oh, no. Because now we've got Kyrie Irving. And now you're dealing every Monday. I deal with Kyrie Irving. Tuesday, I'm dealing with Kyrie Irving. Wednesday, Kyrie Irving wants to ask what Thanksgiving means to me. And oh my God, it's not even Christmas. So you're dealing with Kyrie Irving. You're dealing with a head coach that is overseeing your rebuild in Brad Stevens. But you've got these 2 up-and-comers and Marcus Smart kind of chirping there all along. We'll get to him in a second. So you've got Kyrie Irving. Gordon Hayward keeps being the square peg in the round hole. They want to make it work because we're paying them this money. They can't make it work. And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown the whole time are sitting there going, when is it our turn again? Exactly. You drafted us to save your franchise. And oh, by the way, now we're being caught up in trade rumors. I got to listen to Uncle or Drew tell me that, this is how we do it, young fellas. You'll get your time. And it's like, no. My time is now. You finally get rid of Kyrie Irving. You finally get rid of Gordon Hayward. Al Horford is like, get me out of here. I don't want to deal with this. It is now my team. Oh, my God, we're on a run. Pandemic. We're going to the bubble. Great. Awesome. Might have had something there. We get bopped to an inferior Miami Heat team. Fast forward. Okay, Brad, you're doing a good job, but we think we need a new voice. We feel like maybe you've lost the locker room a little bit. Marcus Smart is now like the de facto head coach. Ime Udoka. Oh, my God. Now we've got this guy. He's going to hold us accountable. He's going to make us work hard. We make a finals. We're going to the finals. We lose to Golden State, but, man, we know we are so close. We're going to start the season hot. Oh, he's fired. Scandal. Great. Awesome. Now we're going to get a guy who actually does think he is the smartest person in the room, not Jaylen Brown, Joe Mazzulla. And now we got to go through another year of, okay, maybe we're here, maybe we're not. Marcus Smart, he's still trying to be like Robin's Robin, but we get rid of him. We get rid of Time Lord. We get rid of all Grant Williams, all these guys we say we gotta keep. It was like one thing after another. You go through 3 head coaches. You go through team drama, throwing chairs, fights in the locker rooms. It's my team. No, it's my team. It's my turn. No, it's my turn. Scandal. Legitimate breaking news scandal. You have fired your head coach for weird reasons. And now we're just going to go in with second row Joe. All those things culminate over, at the very least, the last 6 years that they were together, and even all the crap that they had to deal with, being told, not your turn, not your turn. And I look at those 2 and go, guys, it's kind of a proven fact. Misery loves company. And you 2 have been the constant here. I don't know at what point you 2 are going to look at each other and go, we have overcome so much together.
Which is why they had to break it up.
And that's why they had literally to break it up. How it ends. You had all these things working against you, and you were still able to win a championship. And I just kind of sit, now that the dust has settled, going, man, and look, I subscribe to the idea that these guys were not the best of friends. And I understand you totally different people. You can be professional, but with all that swirling around you over the course of a decade, and especially like your formative years as a pro athlete in your 20s, how did that not galvanize you more?
Because they were never cut out for it.
I thought that was the greatest list of excuse making for this duo that I've ever heard. He gave them every excuse in the book.
And
that
they
was
still couldn't manage it.
Right.
Still couldn't do it.
Yeah. And like that's sort of the great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, you dealt with all of that, but you're supposed to be special. You're supposed to be 2 All-NBA, number 3 overall picks, special star play. You couldn't overcome it.
And they weren't.
Nope.
Well, Andy Hart, you're special to me.
Oh, thank you.
This has been fun.
Oh, thank you.
I look forward to doing it again on Thursday, I think.
Absolutely.
Alex
now
Barth,
that I remember you.
Amazing.
Now I've worked with you before.
It might have been an even more memorable shift than the one time Andy and I did a show
best friend,
together.
Pat McCarthy.
10 years. Yeah. Ryan
Mike McCarthy over here.
Cousin Mike. You want to talk about dumbass coaches? Boy, throw him on the list. No relation. Well, I'm sure there's relation there somewhere. Alex Barth is coming up next. He's Andy Hart. I'm Matt McCarthy. We'll do it again a little later on in the week. Ryan Garvin, thanks a lot. See ya.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.